Are we live?
Oh yeah, we are. I didn't even put it, but I'm doing too many things at once. Hey guys, sorry about that. And apologies to those of you who were watching the live stream, or not the live stream, the watch party with us. I did not time it well, so it went over. We were still watching it, but sorry. We can always finish it later, or if you guys wanna stream it, and there you can. But I'm gonna end the event there. But anyway, so I am Jamie. If you don't know, welcome to Sci-Fivision. It's still pretty much Sci-Fivision presents Phantom Access, but I decided to call this segment Severed Minds. Karen will be along momentarily.
I'm here. I'll just be on the camera.
Just not on camera, not on your fake background. Justin, I missed whatever the first question you had was. It didn't appear because I came in after. So all I see is the same question. So I need to know what the original question is, or I can't answer that. But yeah. All right. Give me 1 second. Shoot, I left the TV on. I'm like, oh, this is what's bad about being on camera. Give me 1 second.
I'll be there in a sec. I'm just getting a big glass of water. Sorry I'm behind, folks, but I've been traveling, and I just got off a plane a couple hours ago, and I'm catching up.
Yeah, and I'm clearly not on the ball either, so sorry about that. But we decided to do on video for the beginning too, which I think kind of screwed it up a bit. But anyway, as I was saying before I went off there to turn off my TV from the watch party, we're going to be talking about the season 2 premiere of Severance tonight. So thank you if you are now joining us. We every Saturday before this live stream, we're doing a watch party of that episode in Discord, which I never have the link up, do I? I always have to go like searching for the link because I don't. Because I stink with that. But let me get the Discord link here and I'll post it in the chat. But we do the watch party right before this. So if you haven't seen the episode or you want to watch it again, before our live stream, you can. And then of course, Sunday, for people who don't know, we have a from live stream, me and Julie and Scarlett, which is at 11 tomorrow night Eastern. And our watch party is at 10 in the same Discord. Yes, I can pin that. Right. I need to open my second window because I have everything in the wrong place in the wrong windows because I have Discord open. Let me.
All right, here I am, wet hair and all.
Let me pin that, and I'm not pinning it. Where'd it go? Pin my message. There we go. And we will take call-ins a little bit later, but we're probably going to talk a bit about the episode first. But the other thing I want. Whoops, sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead. What's the other thing?
No, I just wanted to say, if you haven't, please make sure you subscribe to the channel and you like the video. And yeah, that's was the main things.
Okay. Well, I was thinking, Jamie, since we're going to be here for every week talking about, sorry, I'm walking around my house.
That's okay.
I have terrible light in every room, as you can see.
You can't tell you have the fake backgrounds.
I thought since we're going to be every week, we could talk about a little bit about like where we're coming from going into this show, because you and I have had like a very different experience with season 1.
Yes.
And so I think we're at opposite ends of the like fan spectrum of this show coming into it.
Yeah.
So I'll go first. So for all you guys out there listening, I never watched season 1 until 2 weeks ago. Jamie has for a long time said, watch it, you'll love it, watch it, it's really good. And I only got around to it like 2 weeks ago. And I didn't love it. I watched the whole first season and I liked the show, but I didn't really love it. And I've said to Jamie, I really believe that probably this is a show that would have better served me if I watched it live and had a week in between each show to like theorize, just like digest what the heck just happened on my television screen and to like think about it, speculate, And just watching it week to week to week, it didn't really like, it was okay. I liked it. I didn't really like think the characters were that likable or that interesting. And I mean, I know the innies like are like that for reasons or whatever. And so then I had a chance to think about it for only like this last week. And then I watched, and I just watched episode 2, like 2 hours. Oh, this last episode, the season we were like 2 hours ago. So I'm coming from a very like first time joining the gang, first time talking to anybody about it. So I'm like a newbie to the show, kind of. And then Jamie, you're kind of the opposite.
I had too many pills to take. Oh my God.
Jamie, I don't know if you watched it. You didn't watch it in 2020.
No, I was going to say, I thought you realized that. I watched it about a week before you did.
No, I thought you watched it a while ago. You just watched it.
No, it might have been 2 weeks. No, everybody who was in my From chat in the Discord said, watch it, watch it, watch it. So we live streamed it and we watched, I think, 7 in one night.
Oh my God.
And then we watched the rest the next night. And and I decided I loved it and like immediately tried to get the screeners and then went into, my monitor's doing weird things again.
And now you have, since you've seen all of season 2, because you've got screeners.
Yes, which we will not talk about, but yes, we won't spoil it. Oh, and that's the other thing. I know people have said apparently some of the episodes, unfortunately, again, have been leaked. Some spoilers have been leaked and stuff. So just make sure you don't post anything about leaked spoilers in the chat or anything, or we will kick you. Not cool. But yeah, so no spoilers. But I really enjoyed this season. I think it's a lot of fun. But I really liked season 1. So I don't know. I'm hoping you get more into it.
I did not like it. You know me. If I don't like it, I'll just be like, sorry, I'm abandoning it. I can't. If I really didn't like it, I wouldn't have watched it. I just didn't feel as drawn down the rabbit hole of the mystery that you did so immediately. And it took me a few episodes to really sort of get into it. I kept texting Jamie. I was like, Jamie, nothing happens on this show. Nothing happens. It's episode 3. Nothing happens. And Jamie was like, just wait, just wait. And it just took me longer to get into it. I also was really exhausted. Like I was traveling. I watched it while I was traveling in Central Asia, right? And working every day and then kind of exhausted every night. But by the end of the, I'm also, so I wouldn't say I'm not interested. I'm interested in the mystery. I just texted you, really interested in the things this show has to say about, like working for your corporate overlords and how corporations treat their employees. And, Mark is like the thing, like how traumatized he is and like what it's like, the things the show was saying about living with trauma and the things you'll do to deal with trauma. And then I don't know what they have to say about the Egans. I don't know about religion, about cults, about Scientology, but I'm looking forward. I guess most of our friends in the chat maybe watched the show like 3 years ago or 2 years ago, or more than like a month ago. They're going to bring us along with them in the deep. I did join the I don't know, I like to read Vulture, and they have all these TV clubs, and they have a Severance club. So it's not just so they have a weekly email about Severance, and the TV critic writes, but also like this week the art critic was talking about the artwork you see on the walls, and they have different writers from New York Magazine talking about it. And I do like to follow Vulture, so I always try to give them credit when I'm stealing one of their ideas.
Yeah, I think it seems though like all the press seem to really like this season. So I guess that's at least a good indication. Hopefully you'll get more into it. I mean, yeah, the first few episodes were a little slow of season 1. You kind of got to figure out what's going on, because I wasn't sure at the beginning. Like I liked it and I knew it was going to be a mystery, but it got better as it got a little bit further. I know All City's saying a lot of people feel like that until episode 4. It was the very beginning. I think too, because it's so different. I feel like this show is so different than anything else, which I actually really appreciate, because so many things are just, regurgitated remakes and everything else. So it's definitely unique and it's very weird. That is my biggest description. It is a very weird show. All right. Again, Justin, I don't know if Justin left. I don't know what your original question was to answer the second part of that, because he said same question for the male characters, but I don't know what the question was about the female characters.
I'll come back.
Yeah, and All City says not even Dylan. I think he meant, don't you even like Dylan?
Oh, I mean, I like Dylan. Dylan, I like Dylan. And he provides, a real level of comedy. But like when I wouldn't, when I say they weren't really likable, I don't mean I hated them. I just meant like we don't even really get to know the characters at all, which I guess I know the innies, like, what is there to get to know? They only exist at work. They have no life outside of work. So of course there's not kind of a ton to draw you to that. It takes a long time to get inside them a little bit and to get to like them. And then the outies, we only really see Mark. Until the very end. So it's not that like they're unlikable. I just didn't really like to say I didn't like them. Just means I didn't like fall in love with them yet, or something. I guess
that's fair. That's fair.
Yeah.
And he's saying if you go back to the first few episodes, you might appreciate them a bit more. I kind of already want to go back, but since I just watched it, I haven't had time to go back. I've been rewatching the premiere, but yeah, it might be nice now that you know a little bit more. And also, I don't know if everybody knows this, and I'm just late to the game, but there is a pilot, kind of like with From. There's a pilot. It's not a pilot. I take that back. It's not a pilot script. It's the script that the series was picked up on that that made Ben. From what I understood, it was the script that Ben Stiller read that made him want to develop it. I don't know if that's 100% accurate the way I said that, but it's like the original idea, I guess, of what it was. And you call that significantly.
Like sometimes they call that a treatment if it's really short, like only 10 pages, or a spec script, they call it sometimes, right?
Yeah, it wasn't super long, but I found it on Facebook. I'll have to get the link out. But it was really interesting because it was a lot different. But yeah, it was pretty cool. I enjoyed it. I read it earlier today when I was getting my hair done. So Golden Child says the innies seem more like their true selves than the outies. I guess that's kind of true. I mean, I think the outies are like you're affected by the outside world a lot of times. You know what I mean? Like I'm trying to think of the way to say the way I mean that. Like a lot of times you can't be your true self, or people aren't their true selves because of the way the world treats them. So I guess that's partially true in a way.
I mean, maybe they're both their true self because how much of your experience goes into making you who you are?
Yeah.
And the Audi has had like all this lifetime of experiences that might make them be a certain kind of personality, whereas the innie has Mark has 2 years of work experience. So he's existed for like 4,000 hours. So yeah, like maybe like I know what Golden Child is saying, but maybe they're both their true self, or I guess maybe what Golden Child is saying, are they their true self because they I don't know. See,
I'm looking at it like they're not affected by the outside world because people are so different now. I was having this conversation earlier with somebody that like how teens and stuff are different now because of social media, like how just people treat people different because we have like the way people act on social media and all that. We were just having this conversation about that. And it just makes me think like how things used to be different. So you are definitely affected by the outside. I mean, they're affected by the innies world too. I'm not saying they're not. They're still affected by their coworkers, but they don't have a lot of that stuff around them, I guess. It's kind of like in From. They go to a town where they have no really technology. And I'm not saying they don't in this show. I'm just like using it as an example that like they're not affected by that in that town because they have more a different lifestyle, I guess. Maybe that's not the best way to put it, but
yeah, this the innies though, I mean, they had a childhood and a life. They don't remember anything but from the Audi's life, but that doesn't mean it didn't affect them, right? Like
I guess that's true.
They didn't come into, they're not infants. They came
but they often are very childlike and treated childlike too.
Treated like children for sure, but
yeah.
I mean, they woke up fully. I mean, they're fully
developed. Yeah,
it's just like a part of the. I mean, it's just like a part of the brain is shut off while they're there at work.
Yeah, Because obviously, I was saying this earlier in the chat, they still know how to read and everything else, and that was from their childhood. So some of that stuff, I guess, somehow is retained in there. It's more, I guess, the actual like memories of what their life was.
Yeah.
So I don't know. But I'm sure Mark is a way different person because he doesn't know about his wife until, well, now he does, but before he didn't. So it definitely makes him a different person having not gone through that grief. But
well, not just the grief, not going through falling in love and loving this person, and right, like he didn't go through the grief, but because he didn't go through like any of that formative experience.
Yeah, they're very innocent, I guess is probably the right way to look at it. They come into the world innocent, even if they're not necessarily children. They don't understand certain things because they haven't experienced them.
For me, this episode was a little, so I did watch the first season pretty quickly. And in this episode, I was really into the part where Gwendolyn says, what's the sky look like? Like, is it really like, you know, and then she also asks like, what's wind like? Is it just like being blown on?
Yeah, that was funny.
That was funny. But it's funny to me that type of memory is also, I mean, I guess that memory is severed because you don't want the innies to miss the outside since they're never going to be able to go outside. But to be able to read and write and use a computer and like be a fully formed adult and like not have any knowledge of like the like nature or whatever, what was interesting to me. I hadn't maybe really thought so deeply about the things that they are cut off from, but it makes sense that you would maybe cut off all that memory. So yeah, they don't like, so an Innie would never say, oh, I just miss having a breath of fresh air because they aren't aware that what that would ever be. Right. Well, it's not, this has got me thinking of Silo a little. I don't want to go down the Silo road, but Silo has some people who are like that also, who've never known the outside, but still want to see it.
No, I get that. Let's see. All City's saying, talking about that spec script that they covered it in the first episode of the Stiller podcast, and it sounded weird. It is very weird. It's definitely different. Not that, you know, the show isn't weird to begin with, but it was even more weird.
Does Ben Stiller have a podcast about Severance, or does he just have a podcast about whatever and it came up?
I have not listened to it yet, but it's my understanding Ben Stiller and Adam Scott have a podcast about Severance. They did like a sort of, I guess they did sort of a rewatch podcast, it sounds like, but they, you know, talking about season 1, but they put it out now, like it's still out, and now people are watching season 2. So it's a little confusing. Hi, Breezy. Thanks for coming. All right. Well, let me do the little screen share thingy here if I can get it to show the correct one.
What are you trying to share?
Hopefully we won't be blocked like we were last time with the images. If I can figure out which is the right window, I think it's this one. No, that's not it. Hold on. I'm trying to find which is the right. There we go. So we can show the images as we go and know where we're at in the episode. Okay. That's what we did on the From one, although Julie takes a lot more screenshots than I do. Yeah, so I don't have quite as many as that, but it'll at least we can kind of go that way so we know where we're at. I don't like though that it shows the stupid bar. You know, that's like so annoying.
Right. It's all right.
Yeah, but people can see it's from a video file, which isn't the best. But so I was going to say, I don't think that we really need to recap anything. I don't think, because I think if you're watching this, you've probably, you know, seen it by now, hopefully. But you
mean the entry, like the way when you enter into the severed floor? Like that's what this is a shot from, right? This is a shot.
Yeah, yeah. This is just from the very beginning of the episode. I'm just trying to figure out where to put it because I can't see my notes. There we go. And I'm sorry, I didn't send them to you. I forgot. So I apologize. But I was just going to say, I don't think that we have to go back and recap the finale. But I guess the point is that when he comes to in this episode, when he, you know, is coming off the elevator, this is like a moment after he just yelled to Devin, she's alive, because to them, they're not awake during any of the rest of the time, only when they're innies. And I say awake, I don't know if that's really the right thing to say or not, but yeah, I don't know. Hopefully, he's saying about renaming the files. I don't know if that's bad or not. I don't know how you even like hide that or if that matters.
Well, I mean, you could do a little cropping on them before
Yeah,
next week's
I
show.
know how I can do this really,
It's
really
fine.
easy. Yeah.
It's really fine, I think.
Yeah, because I'm not even sure how to. Somehow you can group rename stuff, but I'd have to look up how to do it.
Fine for now.
Yeah, well, I'll just show it when I need certain images. How's that? And then we'll next time we'll do it better. But anyway, so he gets off the elevator and it's like moments after what happened. So he's kind of, I guess, freaking out, trying to figure out what's going on. I don't know if he was particularly looking for Miss Casey or just was like kind of frantic. I don't know. Do you think that he was supposed to be directly looking for her?
You mean all that long scene of Mark running down hallways?
It's like a continuous shot. That is a really good scene, I gotta say.
I mean, it wasn't a continuous shot, but it was kind of a continuous shot. Yeah, it was pretty cool. Like I was thinking a lot. I was thinking about like, God, I wonder how much of this, how many feet of hallway they have on the soundstage, and then how much of it is him running around and they drop that in electronically behind him. But it was pretty cool. I did not think that he was specifically looking for her. That's just not what I thought at the time that I watched it. I'm not saying that I don't agree now that could be the case. Because the last thing we saw was Mark screaming, "She's alive," and then he pops into like he wakes up and he's. I mean,
yeah, I'm not sure. That's what I'm saying. Like, not sure if it could be, but I don't know necessarily. I feel like he probably was also looking for his friends to be like, "What did you see?" type of thing.
Yes. Now that I think about it, it's interesting that he didn't seem more disoriented because if truly his experience is like 1 minute he's in his sister's living room looking at the wedding photo and saying she's alive, and then instantaneously, like, does it like I don't know how it works in your own mind. Like, is it just like he blinked his eyes and was like instantly in that elevator, or is there I mean,
they show later in the episode it looks like it's kind of like a blackout, black in type of thing.
That's the first time we've seen that blackout.
Yeah, it is. So I'm assuming it's just pretty damn instant.
He could have been looking for her. I didn't think so. I agree with you, Jamie, that maybe he was like running around looking for his team. I got the impression that the hallways had changed, right? Like he couldn't find.
Yeah, he did look very confused, I think. Which I don't know if everything changed or just that. I mean, to be honest, for all we know, they could have put him in a different building. We don't know because he has no like sense of even where he's at. Yeah, so we wouldn't know. But the one thing I did want to mention, and I was telling you earlier, like I know sometimes I'm not sure if things are on purpose but this show has so much color theory. I mean, you can't not see the red and the blue, no matter where you go. And it's like the blue toned is always for the innies and the red tones for the outies. In general, like just the tone of the film, but also a lot of times the colors in it. So I find it kind of interesting in this episode that he walks past a purple office, but also purple's mentioned later, because I think the idea that the innies are like in their outies lives and it's kind of all blending together and they're starting to, maybe know what's going on in both lives. I think that's what that represents. And I don't know if maybe that means we're going to see more of that. Don't know. But I don't know. It stuck out to me. And I've been paying so much attention now without meaning to the colors. Yeah, there's a lot of blue too. That's for sure. There's a lot of blue in this episode. But
it takes place, entirely. Is it the first episode, or it's one of only a few, maybe, to have taken place entirely in the severed floor? Usually, we see like both halves of Mark's life.
Yeah. Let's see. Golden Child is talking about when he was with Miss Casey that he sculpted a statue of the tree his wife crashed into during his session. Yeah, I had saw somebody else said that they think it's supposed to be because she crashed into a tree. So yeah, I mean, you kind of wonder if some of their memories are bleeding through without meaning to, because you think about Irving, who keeps seeing the black sludge that you find out later is supposed to be the paint. So he is somehow, when he falls asleep, he's accessing something that his outie has, that he sees that. And obviously his outie is accessing part of his innie because he's, painting the hallway. So some of it seems like it bleeds through whether they mean it to or not. I know a lot of people have said he's purposely sleep deprived because he's trying to, maybe access it.
Like
So
that he's depriving himself of sleep on purpose.
in the outie world, yeah. Because there's like a scene where he's drinking coffee and stuff, and he seems like he's supposed to be up all night painting.
Well, I mean, it's clear that Irving's not supposed to be sleeping at work,
Right.
but I mean, you're not, nobody, none of us is supposed to be sleeping at work, right? So
Right.
it comes across at first in that episode that just don't sleep at work, but maybe don't sleep at work because you might, like, if an innie falls asleep, what would an innie dream of? Yeah, maybe it could be.
I'm kind of wondering. But considering he's seeing the hallway, that's what makes me think like maybe he's doing it on purpose.
Well, he's seeing the door. He's seeing the door, the elevator.
Hallway. Yeah, the elevator.
Down to the testing floor.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I personally think that he's purposely screwing up his sleep so he can maybe access some of that. I mean, we don't know for sure. That's
interesting.
it's
not maybe what I would have thought of.
Well, either way, he's accessing something that he sees the floor, because there's no way he would.
Well, he doesn't. He hasn't seen the testing floor.
No, but he's painted it.
He's only seen. He's painted the elevator. Like we haven't seen what is what's behind there. What is the testing floor?
Right, but he would have no reason to be on the testing floor and have a memory of it. Like if once they're in that building, they're not supposed to remember anything that was in that building. So I mean, that's the assumption. Maybe it's only the severed floor. I don't know, but the assumption is that they should not remember anything from work, from what they said. So the fact that he remembers what something looks like enough to paint it implies something's leaking over.
He has been severed the longest of the characters we know, right?
Yeah. I forget how many years.
I want to say 4 years. I want to say
something like that. Mark's been 2.
Yeah.
Breezy says the innie and outie, what they know is based on the actual human memories. Factual information can be remembered, but not episodic memories such as work experiences. That's interesting. Yeah, I guess that's kind of the way to look at it. And that's why I said, like, they know how to read and stuff, but they don't probably remember things they've read, I guess, is the way you look at that.
Yeah.
Because it says that's the only thing he remembers because it's a fact from the outside that he remembers. Yeah, that's true. Let's see.
I mean, it depends how you define a fact, right?
Yeah, definitely. Breezy also says the colors, I think, represent one of the core values. The values, maybe. I was going to say, I'm not sure if the 9 core values have colors assigned to them. I know that the 4 tempers have colors assigned to them, but which is not black, but it could be one of the values. Let's see. Golden Child says Irving paints pictures using all black, and when he falls asleep, he sees visions of the black paint. Yeah. Trying to communicate. He might be trying. Popo coming. Yeah. Karen's street always has ambulances.
It's an ambulance. It's an ambulance.
Or ambulance, not please. But yeah, maybe he is trying to purposely communicate. I don't know. I mean, maybe he's running like his own experiment because he's clearly investigating the people that work there, or he wouldn't have had Bert's address and everything else. So, yeah, I don't know.
I mean, he had Bert's address, but he had a lot of addresses. Like, I don't think he was, whatever Irving is doing in his real life, in his outie life, to try to investigate Severance. Having Bert's name, I felt, was like a lucky break that Bert's name was on that list.
Oh, the fact that he had Bert, yes. I think that was kind of random. But yeah, I mean, he's investigating the employees in some capacity. We don't know why, but something that. Did you read the Lexi? Sorry, go ahead. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, this is a larger question to talk about as we move along, but like why Lumen would even employ a person, like why would they, if Lumen has the kind of surveillance they have on so many people, why they would even allow a person like Irving to continue to work on the severed floor is a question in my mind.
That is, but I wonder sometimes if as much as they act like it's so big, if they don't have that, because it's just like how they don't have security like you expect them to. Like when they go in the server room, nobody's in there, right? Like they realize that people are not actually watching. They just say, "Hey, we're watching." And they assume it, which can kind of be true in real life about a lot of things that, you don't do. Sometimes you don't do things because you're afraid you'll get caught, even if there's nobody there to catch you.
Like I'm doing this right now on the laptop that my employer issued to me, and they're probably having AI watch me while I do this.
It is strange though. I agree that I would think they would like stop it, but I don't know. Who knows? I mean, I kind of wonder because I have from the beginning wondered if like Miss Cobel, all the stuff she's trying to find out when it comes to like the reintegration and everything, I wonder if she's been like working on the other side or something like in secret. I have had that feeling from the beginning, like she's, working for Lumen and pretending to be that loyal when really she's like sabotaging things. And I don't know. That's just a guess.
I mean, that's a theory, and that we're probably going to keep picking at this season, right? And she's my favorite character, by the way.
Yeah, she's awesome.
But I mean, I think what undermines the theory of her being like working against Lumen is that she's got a shrine to Kier Egan in her basement.
Well, yes, I definitely think that she believes in the cult stuff, but the company part of it, I don't know that she's as adamant about. I don't know, because there's the whole thing with there's been theories like with that whether it's a CPAP tube or a breathing tube, I don't know. But if you go to the Lexington letter, which is what Breezy's asked about,
I don't know what the Lexington letter is.
Okay, the Lexington letter is basically a tie-in. Part of it, I guess. I mean, there is no official web maze, but I mean, it's essentially that kind of thing. It's an official, very short booklet that has been written by I'm assuming by the writer service involved in the show. And it is a letter between, I forget the people's names, but talking to a journalist, they talked to their innie basically, and they passed each other notes because this was before they had symbols or something like that banned, because it was sort of in their own made up language. So they were able to pass notes back and forth to each other. And they thought it seemed like, now whether this is the case or not, I don't know, because I don't know they would reveal something this big in that kind of thing. But it's implied that it's possible that the ones that are sorting the numbers, that it's causing things to happen. Like it was this, I think it was a truck or something got bombed. And it like coincided with the time that innie finished their file or something like that. So that was the implication with that. But that being so, I lost track of the other thing I was saying about the Lexington letter, because you said something else and it connected to that. What did you say right before I started talking about it?
Well, I had been talking about Mrs. Cobel and Mrs. Harmony and her shrine. And
there's this. That was what I was going to say. Sorry. That there's a thing in there about how somebody tried to sue Lumen for bad respirators or something like that. I know I'm really botching the wording of everything. I'd have to go back to see the exact thing, but it makes it sound like maybe there's a possibility that something happened to her.
All right, I will read the Lexington letters before our next show next week, if only so I can be in the know on all the lore and the things that are considered canon and whatever.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's considered canon, but I mean, yeah.
So yeah, I don't want to get too on a sidetrack of her because she wasn't in this episode, but look at Breezy's next comment about so rewatch the shrine scene carefully. She's not praying to them, she's angry at him. So kind of immediately when I read that comment, I was thinking like, so it's not like a shrine to worship, it's a shrine. Okay, she's not a serial killer, but you know how in like detective shows, the serial killer or the stalker always has all the pictures on the wall and locks of hair and whatever, like that kind of thing. That makes a lot of sense, particularly given how she was like holding what maybe is her mother's breathing tube and crying, and why she would be. I missed her in this episode. I like forgot how much she's my favorite character until like she wasn't in an episode, and then I really missed her this week. although she was kind of with us near the end where it says hello.
Yeah.
And I do
Yeah.
want to talk about that, but we, I don't want to like drag you guys too far off topic because I'm not familiar with these things.
No, if you have something to add, feel
Yeah.
free to add. But going back to the point we were at, that he finds out the wellness room is gone. It looks like, I don't know, to me it kind of looks like the sign's written on the wall, but I assume it's supposed to be painted over because they seem to have removed the room, they removed the doors, like they're completely changed it into another room. So it's like they disappeared Miss Casey almost.
Yeah, right. Like, because it's not really about these improvements so-called improvements they're making to make things better for the idiots. It's really about like you're right, disappearing her is a good word.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, wellness was so weird anyway because it wasn't really like,
it wasn't really therapy like it sounded like it was supposed to be.
Right. Speaking of therapy, I thought through the entire first season, like, why is Mark not getting any, like, outie Mark not getting any therapy? Like, he's so depressed over his wife's death that he chooses to be severed just so 8 hours a day he won't know she exists. It's like sad and sick and like he's still very depressed in his real life, right? It hasn't really, he's helping him. I don't think it really hasn't really helped him. And he doesn't appear to be getting any kind of other therapy. And I guess there appears to not be a really good screening process at Lumen. Like why you accept someone into the Severance program who's clearly like broken. I mean, clearly not emotionally at his best, right? And like not like, could he really give consent for that decision? Or is that their point, is to get people who are like who would really do it? Would you do it if you were like fully mentally and emotionally healthy? Probably not, right?
Probably not. I question too, like, okay, so you're getting rid of 8 hours of the day and shortening your day, but that doesn't make you not grieve the rest of the day that you are awake. Exactly. So I'm not sure what it really accomplishes unless it's more about like he couldn't be productive. Like maybe because I think somewhere it says something like he lost his job or something at the college. I think
he did. Yes, he was a professor and he lost his job.
Right? So maybe like he couldn't hold down a job because of the grief. But again, you would be going to therapy, not just cutting your brain. So yeah. I don't know. That's interesting. But I just want to know. I after this episode, really, and before this episode, had so many different theories because obviously Miss Casey is kind of like, I think something that's really important to the story. And I wondered if it's possible that like when she was in the car wreck, like only part of her mind is left or something. So like there's a severed part, but then the rest of her doesn't exist type of thing. Like they were able to save part of it. Like, so she's severed, but like, does that make sense what I'm saying? Like they can only save part of her memories or something.
There's a theory that somehow Harmony or the corporation or whatever was able to snatch her almost dead body, make everybody think she was dead, but somehow get her body. And like, I'm not saying I believe any of these theories.
Yeah.
You guys all know these theories better than I do. They're just things I've seen. That it's a clone body that they've put Gemma into. That, as you said, that like they couldn't save her. The only way to save her was to sever her. So her outie is the outie in a coma, or is the outie just gone and all that's left is the innie and she's only
like maybe she's in a coma. So that's kind of what I wondered. Or is it that they faked it because they were experimenting on her or something? I mean, it
or was she in on it? And did she fake it on it? Right?
Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. I just kind of at this point, like I said, was wondering is if there is an outie, because she doesn't seem to, I mean, she could have an outside life. We don't see it. So I think that's probably why a lot of people are assuming that. And because she goes to the testing floor, there's a comment somebody made, and I'm sure people remember who it is. I don't, since I've only seen them once, that somebody made about that there's some like people that never leave, that they don't leave, the any part.
They don't leave the building. They don't leave
the building. So that makes me think that maybe that's referring to her and that there is no other part of her. But I don't know. There's so many things of people talking about like, you know, regeneration, trying to, you know, remain young forever because of the whole Egan thing. And are they transferring consciousness? I mean, there's a lot of different theories that could be going on. That was the comment from Petey. Breezy says, see, I knew one of you would know who said it.
What was the comment from Petey?
About that some people don't leave.
Oh, and they just at 5 o'clock, they go to some other part of the building and they either have a life or they go to sleep or something.
Or she's in a coma, whatever.
Yeah.
They say, I think they collect bodies in a clone. That's why they have to stay downstairs. Yeah, I don't know. We haven't seen the rest of the building. It's hard to tell.
I mean, they do. The fact that they have a place called the Perpetuity Wing. I mean, perpetuity, right? And they are so like into their stuff. And, you know, at the end of, in the season finale where Helly is talking to her father and he says, someday you'll be with me at my revolving. And I was like, oh, does that just mean like when they revolve the CEO to the next CEO? Or does he really mean like his revolving, like his consciousness goes into another body? Like,
yeah, that's what it kind of sounds like.
Has he been the CEO in all these bodies for all these years? And all those people in the Perpetuity Wing are not his children and brothers. It's really like he somehow had his brain put into them.
Yeah, maybe they're overwriting like the other person's brain, you know, like hijacking their body or something. That's possible too.
Yeah.
Let's see. I'm guessing Lemon was autocorrected from Lumen. It sounds like the employees of Lumen never really die, so maybe she worked there and she actually died, except her consciousness was uploaded. Yeah, and you know, I was reading this other theory recently, and I'm thinking of it now because of what she said, that people are saying maybe the board is actually like a collective uploaded consciousness or something, because we never see them. But I actually kind of wonder if there's nobody on the other end. I'm more like, I think it's kind of fake, like a lot of this stuff. I think that they make even like Cobel maybe think that like they're listening and it's really like the lower ones that are controlling it and we just don't know it. Because I mean, for all we know, Natalie could be like, you know, up high in the company and she's making it up.
Because they only speak through Natalie.
Right. And we never get to hear them talk.
Yeah. I don't think so. And I don't think many people think that. So I don't know that this is a big theory going around, but the idea that Gemma was in on it from before Mark went in and faked her own death, and like that it's all. I mean, obviously Mark is important, and he has some
disappearing.
Sorry, I'm moving around. Obviously, Mark's important. You know, he decoded his first file super fast, and he's important in some ways. But I don't think that Gemma like was in on it. I don't think Rickon is in on it. I don't think they are either. I don't think it's good for a show that anybody could be in on it at any moment, and you have to always be wondering who's in on it. So I don't think it's like a whole I don't think it's like a whole town full of like that's all set up for these few people, Mark and Irv and whoever, to like be surrounded by, right? Like I don't think it's like a big conspiracy like that. Because I just don't like the idea that I'd be worrying like at any moment anybody could be.
Yeah, I hope not. But I have to wonder though, is it that Mark's important or is it that she's important? Because I personally feel like they're trying not to lose Mark because they gave him everything he wanted pretty much. I mean, maybe not exactly the way he wanted, but he's like, no, I need my people. And like they found a way to bring him back. And usually they don't listen to anything anybody says, but I feel like they don't want to lose him. And I don't know whether it's because I know I forget where I read that he did, like you said, he did like, was like one of the fastest ones to do a file or something. But I'm kind of wondering if it's because of his wife, like that. Yeah, I don't know. That was kind of my theory too. That was something to do with her.
I don't think it's because of, I think the reason Gemma Miss Casey was brought in was because of Mark, because Harmony is experimenting with trying to see if she could stir up his memory. I think she put Miss Casey in there for a reason. She stole the candle out of the house and then put it in the room with Miss Casey and Mark to see if either one of them would remember. Like, I think it's about Mark and maybe Gemma.
He's the only one that can test like that, though, I guess, like in that sense that they have.
Yeah.
Miss J's reviews, hello, says, I thought it was interesting that they listened to Mark. Yeah, I mean, because he basically gets away with a lot of shit in this episode, which I love. Those are some of the best scenes.
I mean, they do give in to his demands for,
yeah.
Which, I mean, why not just retire him, right? If he's a pain in your ass. I mean, they give.
Yeah, it seems like they don't want to let him go.
In this episode, Milkshake, as he will forever be known now, says to them, look, you can leave if you want. You can retire right now and never come back. You have a choice. But it's not a choice. Really? It's not a choice, because the choice is
die.
Live with it or die, right? It's not really a choice. So, like, what, I mean, we could talk about why by the end of the episode, all four of them agree to stay. But what's the choice? There is no choice. Like, right?
Essentially dying. Yeah. Although it makes me wonder, like, Helly, she didn't want to be there, right? Is it in a way almost mean of Mark to demand her to come back when she finally got out? And yes, she may be quote unquote dead, but like, that's what she wanted. Because I was thinking about that too. You get into the whole morality issue. Are they actually dead? What does it, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I was going to say, like, offering them a choice is like, and
it's more the illusion of a choice than a choice.
Well, and that they gave into Mark, and Mark gets what he wants. Like they could always just retire him anyway. They could tell Audi Mark, I'm sorry, you were retiring your guy, you're done. Here's your
severance.
Here's your severance package. Get a new job. You're like, they retired Bert when Bert became too much of a pain in the ass. They retired him, right? So to give Mark and Helly, Dylan and Irv the choice and say you could retire or stay, it's not a choice. They know they're going to stay, but the fact that they gave them the choice and didn't just go to the Audis and say, obviously, because the four Audis are all aware that their innie did this.
Yeah, they are now. Well, supposedly. The thing is so much of it, we don't know what's being told to them that's true and what isn't, which we'll get to more when we get to that point. Let's see, the whole town, Golden Child says the whole town, including stores, etc., is owned by Lumen. And that's the other interesting thing. And again, we'll get more into this when we get to that part of the episode. But I noticed too, like the newspaper. Now, is this something just because they don't want them to know where they're at? I don't know if you noticed, but the newspaper comes from Kier, PE. PE is not a state. That does not exist.
I thought it said Kier Chronicle.
Like the city was Kier, PE. Like there is no state. Now, I mean, I guess it could be not the United States, but we're assuming it's, America.
Could it be like Prince Edward in Canada? I mean, we had a guy who transferred in from Italy this week, like and the video clearly said they're all over the world. It could be Canada. I don't know.
I don't know what their abbreviation is. Somebody would have to.
That really matters. I think we don't know that that's a real newspaper. That news, like,
no, I don't think it is.
Milkshake is presenting it as though it's a newspaper from the outside world, and he's like, "Oh, look, you're all famous in the outside world. Here's this newspaper, and it's all redacted." But that could just be a prop that was just for Mark's benefit in that office, right?
Yeah.
I'm going to go back up for a sec and just backtrack for a sec. All City, no, I don't think Rickon is a secret Egan. And again, we already had one secret Egan revealed in the season finale, and I just think that
we need another one.
If everybody, do we need another one? And if anybody could be a secret Egan, then like I don't want to watch the show wondering who's the next Egan to drop out of thin air. I think this show might use that sparingly. I don't think he's a secret Egan. I think he's just I don't think he is. Sorry about that. I just wanted to backtrack.
Yeah, no, good. Yeah. And that's why some of the things people are saying I haven't gotten to yet because we're like nowhere near. I wanted to first talk about him coming back into macrodata refinement. This is where he sees the new people. There's a whole new team. We meet Gwendolyn, Dario, and Mark. And that's when it kind of all goes to shit where he's like, he got mad at that point. That's when he started getting mad about that. But and then Milchick comes in with the balloons. But that's where I wanted to get now. to, well, we'll talk about the newspaper in a second. First, let's talk about, I guess I don't need a picture for this. Talk about the girl, Miss Swan. Okay, first of all, she's very robotic, but so is Milchek. So I don't know whether that is just their personality, whether they're trying not to have a
his new
personality,
assistant,
whether they're robots. Yeah, she's got his old job because he's got Cobel's job. But she's very young, and she even says she was a crossing guard. Like, who's a crossing guard at that age? It's just weird. And it stands out. I don't know. Do you think that there's something weird about, like, what do you think about that? The fact that she's
so first of all, I know a woman who's like 30 who was employed as a crossing guard in cities. They have like crossing guards.
Yeah, but not at like 14 or 16 or whatever she's supposed to be. I wouldn't think.
Yeah, I don't know. Like if kids do that. I think so the actress is 18 in real life. She's playing younger. We don't know how old. I mean, someone jokes like, what is she, 8 years old? Someone said she's 8 years old in this. And they dress her like a school child. There are theories that that's Gemma. Miss Casey has been put into a new body. There are theories that she is the child of Gemma or of Gemma and Mark.
Yeah, that's what Breezy's saying. I'm not sure what you mean by Chris baby.
You mean Mark?
It might have been a typo. Yeah, it might have been a typo. I'm not sure. Maybe she was a crossing guard at her school. I think she's supposed to be 13. I don't know. I'm so bad at judging ages, but she's definitely supposed to be younger than her real age at any rate. Than the actress's age.
Like an older kid crossing little kids across the street. Yeah. I don't. So how could, if she's Gemma's daughter, she would have to have like 16 years ago had a baby, like even before she met Mark, or if she had Mark, somehow Mark didn't know. I don't know.
I think I would be more apt to believe that like they put her consciousness in a new person or something. I don't know. The daughter thing to me doesn't really make sense. And I'm not saying I believe that that's her consciousness. I'm just saying that to me makes more sense than the daughter, because I don't understand. I don't know. The daughter to me just is kind of like a left field thing. Not to say that it couldn't be the case. I just don't see that.
And I don't know if it's even, I mean, everything in the show kind of means something, but it also, like, setting aside who she is she related to anybody, whatever, like, it raises the ethical stakes of the severance process. That is she severed? Like, did someone sever a child, like, with parental permission? Or how could a kid, if she's severed, how could a kid get severed? If she's not severed, why is a kid working down there and not school? Did they, are they able to, like, take the little chip out of like Gemma's brain and put, maybe this kid was also going to die and they did not a brain transplant, but essentially that's what we're like talking about, a personality transplant, right?
Yeah. If that's
I
don't know, but I assume not. We don't really know, but it makes it seem like Milchek is not severed. I would say would be my guess. Although he acts so strange sometimes. Why did I echo there for a second? Like, I've sometimes wondered because of the way he acts, but she's supposed to have his job. So I'm assuming she's not severed, but that's not to say she isn't. I kind of sometimes almost wonder if, like, they're partially severed, like maybe like there's a part of their life that's hidden, but not their full lumen life. Because you think about, like, that woman that just had taken out the time of having the baby, so she didn't have to deal with it. She was severed then.
That was really kind of proven in the season finale, right?
What do you mean?
Well, it was like was it ever 100% admitted on the screen that she severed her body she severed so her innie could deliver the baby?
No, I guess it wasn't proven, but it's implied, I think.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not saying I don't think it's true. I think we all agree. I'm just not sure it ever was like 100% said on the screen. But I mean, I'm not sure if it's worse for this child to be severed or to not be severed. Like, which is worse, for her to, like, be severed would be terrible, but for her to, like, be, like, I don't know, 13, 15 and working in the company, right?
Yeah,
And
I don't know.
somebody, I mean, there is a point. So when I was yammering on about, oh wait, we have to go to this very important comment. Karen, that's exactly how I feel. Which I think Golden Child's talking about, like, Rickon not being, not wanting to worry about everybody being a secret Egan all the time, maybe is the comment that was referring to. But talking about, like, how old Miss Huang, is that her name? How old she is? Could she be Gemma? Could she be Mark's child? How old does she make the timeline work? And that's, we're going to this comment by Breezy, right? Because just because Milchek told Mark it's been 5 months,
it doesn't mean
anything. And I think the one thing in the timeline, the time was confusing, but the one thing, like, Milchek's age is the one thing that lets us know that it's not like it's been years. It hasn't been like 14 years, and this baby of Gemma's was growing for 14 years. Until
because everybody would be older.
Nobody's aged. Nobody has aged. It could be one day. It could be, okay, it's probably not the next day, but it maybe has not been 5 months.
Right. And you're right, Breezy. He did go into real life when he saw Dylan. But I guess my point is, I wonder if they can travel between both and still have, like, maybe part of their information severed.
Well, that
was just my kind of theory.
That would be like reintegration, which so far, as far as we know, eventually kills you.
Right. No, but I mean, like, I wondered if it's possible, like, they can know about the Severed program, know about Lumen, and work in the real world and at Lumen, but there's, like, certain things that they have hidden from them. I don't know. That was just something I was spitballing with before. I don't know that it even makes sense, but Breezy wants to know if Miss Cobel is severed. I definitely think it's implying she's not severed, but I mean, does it actually say that? No, not
I
really.
think when Mrs. Solving's at the party and Mark calls her Mrs. Cobel, and she immediately knows.
She definitely knows about her other personality, if that's the case.
That's like a not severed. She's not severed, right. Or she's not in that moment.
Or she's reintegrated. Maybe I keep saying, like, I feel like she's going against him. Maybe she was severed and isn't now. I don't know.
I don't think she's reintegrated. She's not reintegrated.
Baby is like Tabitha being Elway. You're not wrong.
I mean, she was so interested in Petey and his reintegration and getting his ship. I don't think she's
true. If she was, why would she care?
I don't think anyone's. I think it is, like, I think reintegration is not possible, and I think that's.
I don't know. I just got, I guess, the opinion that she's trying to see if it's possible. I'm not sure why.
Yes,
because the company's saying you can't do this, but it's kind of like the thing of you can't go in the server room and there's nobody in there. Like, I feel like she thinks that Lumen is saying it's not possible. That doesn't mean it's not possible.
Well, we saw Petey die from it, and she knows Petey died from it. I don't think she's reintegrated. I think the reason like she and Milchek are not severed is because they need someone who's aware on both sides, and it doesn't work. You can't be severed and work both sides of it.
I guess that's true. But yeah, that's Breezy, that's kind of what I was getting to. Like, he was doing things the wrong way or something, like he wasn't listening, or I can't remember. That doctor that we that's barely been, that they mentioned, that that was it, like, so it might be that PD didn't do what he was supposed to do, type of thing. I don't know. I'm just
I guess. I mean, so I'm going to have to try to come to terms with the idea that people could be secretly reintegrated, and it's actually possible. I mean,
I don't know. That's why I question if it is, because that seems to me kind of an important question there.
I mean, it seems to be like some of the other things that I don't want the show to be doing. I mean, if it's possible, Mrs. Cobel doesn't know about it because she was trying all this shit on Mark.
Yeah, you're right. If she knew about it, she'd have no reason to do what she did. You're totally right with that. But I think she thinks it's possible at any rate. And
I think she hopes it's possible for whatever reason. Like, maybe her mother is somewhere. Yeah, maybe her mother is severed somewhere, and she can't ever see her mother.
We're saying maybe Gemma's partially in a coma. Maybe her mother can't breathe and is, on life support or something, and maybe her mother.
I mean, she went to the girls' school for the Marjorie Egan Academy for girls, right?
Like that, yeah.
She's been raised in it, much like these Scientology schools that people are comparing it to. And maybe her mother is severed, and only living as an innie, like maybe she's trying to find a way to like reintegrate her mother.
Yeah, that would make sense. If maybe like her consciousness is partially gone or something. And Breezy says, when you retire, isn't that reintegrating? No, they say that reintegrating isn't possible. Retiring means there's no more innie, period.
It means you just never go back to work and your innie is never reactivated.
Right.
But you don't get the innie mind personality. They don't reintegrate so that you have both sets of memories. The Audi will never have. So like when Irv was banging on Bert's door, which is not even Bert's real name, right? He has another name. When he was banging on the door, if Bert would open that door, he would have no idea who Irv is.
Right. Right. Yeah, no, that's, well, I wonder too, like, I don't think they'd let them retire if they could, because they'd know all their secrets too. I mean, I think as much as it's,
they know all their secrets,
you don't have to remember work. I mean, I think part of it people do maybe because they don't have to go to work. Because I can see the idea of like, you get paid and you don't got to do work because you don't remember it. But at the same time, I think it's also a way that Lumen can have people work there and they can't tell their secrets.
But you do have to go to work. Your body physically goes to Lumen every day. You don't.
Yeah, so you can be tired, but you have no memory of it. Like you go to sleep, you wake up, you did work, you get paid for what you did when you were asleep, essentially.
Yeah, I don't know that it's like a restful sleep, but
no, but I'm saying that's essentially what it's like. It's like you close your eyes, you go to work, you wake up, it's done, so you don't have to experience it. But I think it's also a way that everything's kept secret. I think that they don't tell people what goes on there for that reason. I mean, that's part of it.
And I don't know that everyone is down there so that they can. So we know that Mark wanted to have 8 hours a day where he wasn't aware of his wife. We don't really know why other people have.
No,
I mean,
we don't.
We know why Helena went in, but we don't really know why I mean, maybe it pays great and you need the money, right? Or maybe you were, I don't know. There still is the part where they, like, MDR could be recruited for some special sensitivity to these scary numbers and whatever, right? But we don't know why the people were recruited to, like, that guy to raise goats or.
Yeah, but that's my point. Nobody can tell because they don't remember, so they can't like let their company secrets out. So yeah, I don't know. But anyway, I was going to say, Milchek, and this part we don't need the picture, but Milchek gives them the balloons. He's like, welcome back, which the balloons are funny. But I said before, like they treat them like children. I find it really ironic too, because he's like, here, have this kid hold your balloons because you can't be distracted from them. And he hands them to the kid, which is kind of like, yeah, sympathizing.
I mean, I feel a lot of that is about parodying the way the corporate things that happen when you work in a big corporate office like that, and the kind of like corporate perks that they
some of it
that are
but
so.
I just mean it's very infantizing, like a lot of that kind of stuff too.
Well, yeah, I mean, I don't know that Milchik gives him those balloons because he's trying to infantilize him. But
no. But I'm just saying, like the fact that he's like, you can't be around these because they'll distract you, so we'll leave them with the kid. I'm just saying, like it's interesting what he says because he gives them to the kid.
Yeah.
No, giving them the balloons. Yeah, I don't mean it like that. I just meant like him saying you can't be around them while I'm talking to you because you won't pay attention. That's essentially what he says.
Yeah.
Because they're distracting.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So that's interesting. So he says that it's been 5 months. We know that. He says that that I'm reading what I have here. He also says that the time that they were gone, that it was where'd it go? One of the most painful moments in the history of the company. And then he says, I too was wounded by what happened, but you must be cut to heal, mustn't we? And I don't know that that has any purpose, but that line was so bizarre. Sometimes Milchek says things that are really weird the way he talks.
That's an Egan quote. That's one of Egan's things.
Okay. Well, because I wondered if it could be that that's like, foreshadowing that somebody's going to be hurt. And then
I think I've heard that's an Egan. That's one of the Egan, like.
I didn't realize that. That makes a difference.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I just wondered if it had a meaning, but I guess that probably is the meaning then. I didn't realize that. I'll have to. Yeah,
that's
I don't know. Thing. Where do they say what it is, or is it like when they're showing the Egan?
I like remembered it from seeing it.
Oh, you don't know what it was. Okay, I just was curious because I didn't know.
I'll Google it really quick. while we talk. But probably somebody in the chat has heard it also.
Yeah,
But
probably.
we must be cut to heal, right? That's what it.
Yeah.
We must be cut.
Oh, he says you must be cut to heal, so it might be not be underway. Okay. So while you're doing that, he's telling Mark that both Helly and Irving also made contact, and that Dylan found out. Is basically what he says. And then he says, "You guys are famous on the outside world because of what you did," which we don't know if any of that is true.
Oh, it's on a you can't see this, but there's a screenshot. Solvig, in Mrs. Solvig's house, she has like one of those needlepoint samplers that says we must be cut to heal.
Oh, okay. Interesting. Hold on, give me 1 second. Why did that not work?
That's why I immediately thought of it as an eganism, because it was in Mrs. Solvig's house. And I would show you a picture of it, except it's on my phone, not on the computer, and also I don't know how to do it. What are you trying to pull up?
I'm trying to open this because I want to talk a little bit about the newspaper here. Let me share this.
Oh, your picture of the newspaper?
Yeah. I even named it so I can find it easy. There we go. Newspaper. Allow. Okay. Now, and this is one that was blown up by my AI enlarger too, so I can zoom in on it. So this article, first of all, that picture is so photoshopped. Now, granted, they wouldn't know what that means or have any idea, but it's very clear to me that that is from their team photo and what appears to be, and I don't know, because you know how bad I am at history, but that looks like from JFK's parade, or at least it's supposed to, I think, resemble that.
It's an old presidential parade, yeah.
So it's clearly photoshopped. There's things that are redacted in it. Now, the redaction, maybe it makes it seem more real to them. I don't know. It does say it's from the town of Kier, which is a little suspicious.
The Kier Chronicle, published date. What does the date say? Since 1899, it says.
Yeah.
It says since 1893.
Trusted source for going on in Kier in the greater world. Yeah, published since 1893. But it needs to blow the whistle. Now, here's, I got written here, hold on what it said. Okay. Like I said, Kier isn't really a town that we know of. Okay. It also talks about, because I've gone through and read some of it. It also mentions some of the reforms at the company because of what they did. Top of the line recreational facilities, sexual liberations, who knows what that is, and improved snacks. Then the other things in it is there is also an article on Rickon, who it says about a book that he's written, These Values 9, How I Let Kier In. So it's implying he wrote a book for the innies, about the innies, something about, Kier. I guess not the innies, about Kier, not about the innies, about Kier. The thing that makes me question that, though, is he was not down for severing. Like, he didn't seem to like the fact that Mark was severed. So I kind of wonder if he would actually write that, or if that's just because they know how much they listen to his writing and that it means something to them that they put it in there. So for whatever reason.
Well, I mean, at the time of the season 1 action, he was promoting the UUR.
Yeah.
And so if he's written this next book, it would have to have been in the next 5 months. But in terms of this newspaper, it could be a total lie, because any Mark would have no idea if Rickon's ever written another book.
Right. But I was under the impression from what Rickon said to Mark that he was against severing, which, I mean, I guess severing isn't necessarily Kier, but it seems to me that they're kind of hand in hand. So I don't know. It just seems like maybe not true. And then the other thing is there's also, and I think this is more just a reference. There's an article about a break-in at Baird Creek Townhouses, which is where Mark's Audi lives. Mm-hmm. So I don't know if that's supposed to be like when Cobel was in his house, or if it's a reference to that, or if it's just because it says the name of his house. Because also Baird is one of the Egan's too. So yeah, that newspaper seems like bullshit.
I mean, I think, yeah, it's the only, yeah. I mean, I thought that right away that it could be a paper that was made only for Mark to see. It's kind of a lot of effort to create a whole newspaper for only Mark to see, but this company seems to have, I don't know, this company is weird because, and I know you probably, everybody's talked about this except me since I'm like new coming to the show, but like they seem like so low tech in some ways and then so high tech in some ways, right?
I hate when people say things to me and then I can't remember who said them because then I feel bad because I don't want to take somebody's theory. But somebody was saying in the chat earlier that maybe it's older technology because, or who said it? Somebody said something like maybe they use older technology at Lumen because they won't, it's not from their memory. Like, I don't know though that would be accurate though, because those, like somebody like Irving would be old enough to remember that.
I'm old enough to remember that. And
I know, well, that's what I'm saying. I don't know
that Irving, okay?
I don't know that Mark. No, I'm thinking like I think Mark may not. I'm not sure how old he's supposed to be, but Irving would definitely remember it because yes, I remember it too. That's why I'm saying like that's not. I'm just tweeting that we're here for people, so hopefully.
Adam Scott in real life is 51. He's maybe.
Oh, geez, I didn't know. I thought
maybe
he was
old enough to remember.
Yes, he would be old enough to remember it. I mean, I don't remember having it, but like I remember that tech. Hell, I remember my first computer, and I remember when the internet became a thing. I had Prodigy before there was an internet. There was email and animations. So yeah. Breezy says Mark mentioned something about a world war. Whoops, wrong thing. About World War. Yeah. Well, I don't know.
I mean, that would be something that, going back to your earlier comments, Breezy, I think Breezy that comes about what you've experienced versus what you've learned. And like World War II is something he would have learned about in school. Like they're not
he wouldn't have the memory of learning it, but he would know about it.
They're not supposed to be wholly naive, right?
Yeah, and they know states. They ask him like what state they know.
I mean, they are a part of. They're just. I mean, it's important to remember that they're not a separate person. It's not a separate body, and it's not a separate person, and it is like a cordoned off part of the brain that goes to work, and I mean, this is like the work does not seem to be the type of tops like it's not like they're running a nuclear submarine and you don't want them to remember when they come outside so they can't be compromised or whatever, right? It appears to be work. I mean, I know there were theories for a long time that the work was meaningless and that it's some kind of big experiment. I think the fandom has moved on from that. But early on, there were theories that like, is the work just busy work that's meaningless?
I don't know. See, I more thought that it's something that's like company secrets. That's what I was saying. Like, I think they don't want them to remember when they get out. I don't think it's like you said. I don't think it's like, manning a submarine or something like that. Yeah. And I don't know that I buy that it's something like setting off bombs or choosing who dies and those kind of things. Like in that Lexington letter, it makes me wonder. But yeah, I don't know. I still think that they have a lot of company secrets that they don't want out, like about the chips and everything else.
I mean, there are theories that they're refining themselves, basically. And if those numbers represent memories or okay, is Mark refining himself? If you're looking at the numbers and you're supposed to be looking for numbers that feel scary and then moving them, right? Like, is that Mark like re-engineering his own trauma? Is this like is this like a metaphor, or is it truly Mark working on his own trauma?
That's interesting. Right? Yeah, I mean, they definitely are like the four tempers or whatever.
They're jumping into the four tempers, right?
But and obviously we'll talk about the what he we see on the computer screen at the end of the episode.
Yeah.
Because I kind of wondered for a while if like that's what it truly is, but they're seeing the numbers. You know what I mean? Like they're showing us what is truly on the screen. I don't know.
What do you mean? Like what
because they have no memory. Like he doesn't. I mean, I don't know that makes sense though, because he sees Miss Casey as Miss Casey. But I wondered if it was possible that, like, because they have no memory, like if he looks at a photo of his wife, he sees like more of like binary. I mean, I know it's not binary, but like
he
can't
would just see
actually
numbers,
recognize- right?
and he wouldn't
Yeah,
actually
like the Matrix, like that kind of thing. Like he's not actually seeing, like we're seeing what's truly on the screen. And I don't know, but that was kind of my theory after this episode. I don't know. We'll get more into that when we get to the end of the episode. I'm just, like I said, yeah. These are just all the things I wrote down after I watched this episode. Let's see. Okay, it was Golden Child that said, I said maybe they use older technology to prevent the remembrance of them thinking about recent technology. Yeah. But I think the point is that technology isn't so old that people wouldn't have, some of them wouldn't have memories of it, I guess is what we're saying. I mean, it's possible that it's like an ascension type thing, but I don't know if there's a meaning or not. I think part of it may just be world building and they like the, you know, the way it looks. I don't know. But there is tech in the real world because they have like the monitors at Helly's, not Helly, Helena at the gala. There's like big monitors and stuff. And like she has a headset. Well, I mean, the headset, I guess, could be from before, but it's implied, in my opinion, that it's that old tech is only inside Lumen.
Yeah, that was all fully modern flat screens and
yeah. So I would say there's probably a reason, but sometimes it makes me wonder because it looks really cool, but I don't know. It probably has some kind of reason. Okay. Breezy says, I think trying to refine and isolate consciousness in the human brain is a good guess.
Woohoo! Been watching the show for a week. Had a good guess. Thank you.
Okay, the Chocolate Professor. Okay, so my point is, I think the newspaper's fake. And that's like Golden Child says, who said they're famous besides Milchek? Nobody. Yeah. I don't think.
No, yeah. I think it'd be more likely that Lumen would and the Egans would go out of their way to like shut down these like what the Indies did. You know, it might be harder to do with what Helly did at Helena's party because that was seen by a lot of people and maybe broadcast. But Mark was just one guy at one party. You could shut that down. Irv, easy to shut down, right? Like,
yeah, definitely. Now, Bracey's saying, I'm confused by this. Helly they had a VCR to show Helly video trying to escape.
They did. Like, well, so like,
remind me when this was, like, because
okay, so when I think you might be referring to when Helly tried to escape. And then
like surveillance, it wasn't it?
No, I mean when she gets the video from her Audi Helena, who says like, "Sorry, I'm not your request to retire. You're not a person, and your request to retire is denied." They bring in a TV and a VCR to show that to her.
But that's because of the old tech within the building or within Lumen, though.
I mean, so it is in keeping with the old tech we see in the building, but we don't really know why. I mean, I even sometimes feel when I look at Milchek all last season, and he
looks like he's from like the 70s.
Well, when he's wearing that short sleeve, like Oxford shirt with a tie and everything, he does have like a throwback kind of a feel to him.
He does. I've thought that before too. I've wondered if they're like somehow in a different time. I don't know.
I don't really get that from the women. He's the only man.
No, I don't either.
Right? The other people that all work it, they're all women. I don't get the feeling from them.
Yeah.
But
yeah, Breezy's saying 70s outfits. Yeah, some of it does. I don't know. But considering it's not outside of Lumen, I feel like it probably does have some kind of point to it, I would assume.
But yeah, they do bring in a VCR. I don't really know why there is low technology. I think maybe it's things that are not internet connected, don't have a chip, cannot be hacked, so nobody can nobody can spy on them, hack into them. If you have all,
and that's what I say about company secrets again, like nobody can get in, but also they can't like look something up on the internet and find out about their Audi either. There's also that.
But but you can do that anywhere. Like I have friends like, you know, who work in, like, if you work in national intelligence, if you work at the NSA, you work down at Fort Meade, you have to leave your cell phone you can't bring a cell phone inside the building, and there's no internet on your terminal at the office,
They
right?
would still have newer computers. They wouldn't have.
Yes, but there are people who work in a non-internet environment, right? Like you could have them on a great computer and not be able to Google themselves. You don't need to like be working on a VCR level of technology. I'm wondering if it's, but like maybe it is about that kind of a thing. They're just
all analog.
They don't even, they don't even want to have like a microwave with a chip in it. And maybe I haven't seen a microwave. Maybe they have a microwave, but it's all very like unconnected equipment.
No, but yeah, it's all analog because even the clocks, like they're all like there's one somewhere there's a one with numbers digital, but like it's like one of those old flip ones, kind of like in Lost. It's not digital. Yeah. It's still not digital. I mean the watches might be because they can't wear it through the elevator because it's got numbers and like the elevator would go off or whatever, which we still don't even know if that thing about the code is real. That is still up for debate. But it could be part of that.
So yeah, I forgot where we are in this. I lost track of how far we've gone through the episode.
I was going to say that he's still talking to Milchek in this. Milchek is pretty much blaming Cobel for like everything that the company did to them. I feel like the way he does it, he's like, oh, like, how did we have somebody here that was like that? Like, oh, it was all her idea type of thing.
I mean, yeah. And that is another, I think, like commentary on the workplace, that it's very common to blame the person who left for everything that goes wrong. Right.
Yeah.
And the person that you
bosses or blame the women. It could be either.
Yes.
Yeah. That's when he makes that throuple comment though, which is funny. Although, as I keep saying, I'm not sure how that would work, but it's funny. Now he says he's tried to get back the other workers. He's begged them to come back, and Mark's out. He's the only one that begged to come back. They wouldn't come back.
What's a lie?
I find that hard to believe, especially Helena, because why would she not come back? Like some of things just don't make sense.
So you're saying they begged the outies and the outies wouldn't let the innies
No, I read that wrong. He said that Mark's outie begged to come back. He said the other ones refused to come back. The other
outie begged for Mark Innie to have his innie back in.
Yes.
And none of the other
people would come back. Yeah. Which, that to me makes no sense. I mean, Helena, like, why would she not come back?
We're going to get into Helena in a minute, right?
Yeah. But I'm just saying, like, she needs to prove that severing's good thing. So I would think Helena would want her innie to come back. Okay. Where'd we go? Okay.
Well, I mean, we're going to need 20 minutes to talk about whether it even is Helly or Helena who came back.
Yeah. I do like, though, at any rate, that Mark does not believe everything Milchek says. It's like they're maybe starting to see that don't just have to believe everything at face value. So,
starting.
Then see. Yes. Now, I marked this down because this is something that I don't know if it's important or not. But you know how they say, like, they stagger them coming in so they don't meet each other, and they show like the parking lots always like empty or whatever, and they have them come in like it seemed like the way they did it before, like 5 minutes or whatever separate, so they never meet up with each other on the outside. But Mark W says that they got there an hour before Mark. Like, what would be the point to that? Some people were theorizing that maybe because they're trying to whatever with Mark control him, that it's not like really people from another like severed department, that it's like actors or something that are coming in. And I don't know that's the case, but it is kind of weird they were there before him.
I mean, what? It's weird that they were there. No, if supposedly Mark has been gone for 5 months, MDR needs to keep going on. You would think there would be people. I wasn't surprised to see people there because if, like he said, it's been 5 months, there's got to be people.
Yeah, that part.
Then they say they just got there an hour ago. That goes into the pile of evidence against it being 5 months.
Mm-hmm. But I guess my point is, why would they come in earlier in the day? But yes, you're right. Why would they?
why wouldn't they? They came in at the normal time. They didn't have to be scolded by Milchek for an hour and have all the. They were just transferred to come and do work. Show up at 9:00 at your new office and get to work, right?
I guess that's true.
Mark,
but you're right. He said they just got there. He did say that. So why were they not? Why was nobody there? Why did they wait until they brought Mark back to?
Because it's only been like a couple days, probably, or it could be the next day, right?
Yeah. Then Mark W is complaining and talking about the office being cramped, but he likes the carpet better because before it was creme brulee and the keyboards were puce. And that's whenever Gwendolyn's like, no, it wasn't puce, it's purple. Again, the purple. I said that earlier. The fact that they've mentioned purple twice to me means that the two are kind of merging. I know that wasn't their office. So for a while, I thought maybe that was their office, but I think they were from a different building. So I don't think that's possible. But that is when he calls him milkshake. And then that guy's asking about the pencils in Italian, and we can't understand them. I think Just Me said something like he didn't know where the supply closet was or something like that. He said it wasn't anything.
Well, I think that really line was in there to show us that the supply closet also has changed. Like,
yes, because Milchek mentions them going in the supply closet for privacy, and that's like not a closet you can walk into that they have
last
now.
year. They would have to go and like the supply closet was bigger and you could like go in there.
Yeah, so I question why they changed.
It's really just like a cabinet now that you open and there's no. It's just like right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, I guess so that you can. So they say which with the supply closet because you shouldn't have to hide in there to whisper, but they actually took it away so there's no place to hide and whisper.
Yeah, definitely.
Right.
And it's got red, green, and blue paper. Also, Gwendolyn says that mentions that 3 of them put Wyoming on their intake or whatever on their input survey. I assume though that isn't saying they're from Wyoming. That's just when they say what state do you remember, like if any, and he says Delaware. So I don't know. That could even just be a joke. I don't. Okay, so then Miss Wong takes them into the kitchenette. They play their game where they reveal facts about themselves, and that's where we find out she was a crossing guard, which is weird. And they comment on her age. Now, I marked this down because I don't know if it's anything we need to know later, but at least Mark W. and Gwendolyn, since the other guy wasn't from the same branch, I don't know. But he says he was from branch 5X and that it was shut down. The branch they're currently at, according to the video we see later, is 501. So I don't know, like, if the X means something or there's anything there with that, but I did mark it down.
Sometimes a number is just a number, right?
Yeah, sometimes. That's why I said some of this I don't know if it's important or not. But that's where Mark's like, he's been there for 2 years and I made 4 friends. And then she's like, I'm not your friend. And her creepy little voice, he's like, I made 3 friends. I like how he looks at her again after. Like,
that was kind of interesting because, like, when I think about it, hasn't Milchek always sort of
been trying to be their friend?
Acted like a friend. Like, he never said I was your friend, but he acted kind of friendly all last season. And he even says, like, when they go into the to watch that creepy heat miser video, he says like something like, maybe I'll buy you a drink in a bistro someday, which is like a friendly kind of like we're becoming friends kind of way. Like, I know that previously he was kind of the good cop and Harmony was kind of the bad cop. And maybe that's flipped. And maybe he's still the good cop and his new assistant is the bad cop in that office.
Yeah, I hadn't thought about that. That's a good assessment. Is that plaque your background coming in or is that your cat?
No, that's
oh, okay, it's just your background. I thought at first it was your cat.
When you have curly hair, you get like weirdness.
No, I thought at first your cat was behind you. That's what
no, it's just a black spot in my my fake apartment.
Yeah. But I like how he just kind of like stares back at her like, then fine, I made 3 friends. I don't know. I thought it was funny. The other thing I marked down, and again, something that I don't know if it has much importance, but I think I did take a picture somewhere.
Is that better? Anyway, that's my real house.
Oh, but they have that big jar of tokens for the vending machine. which
Yeah.
they made a point of before saying they got 2 tokens or something a day. Dylan said something about that. So I guess that's part of the snack reform. They can eat more. I don't know. Let's see. Okay, now that Dario, I also don't know if people just got his name off the block or what, but it is on Internet Movie Database now. Dario has that head on his desk.
Yes. So whereas Dylan got like a glass head, he gets a carved wooden head. But he did say he came from his building, had no technology at all, and they had to use a rope to go up. I mean, I think maybe like he was being facetious. Like he said, instead of an elevator, they had a rope.
Yeah, that part I'm not so sure about. But the brooms and that maybe. Some people or somebody, I forget, one of the videos or something I watched theorized that he's been there for like a long time. That more makes me think that it could be like some kind of experiment, and like each department or each branch is like something different, you know? Yeah.
I mean, Dario's not that, he's one of the younger people. He can only have been there so long unless they also.
Yeah, I know. They were saying like
also an anti-aging project.
Yeah. Okay, wait. We skipped some stuff back here. I meant to mark it for when we got to it, and then I forgot. So if you guys said something about something later in the episode, like a while ago, and I didn't,
it's okay.
Didn't say it, you could just say it again, and I'll, because I don't know. Oh, okay. I'll mark this once we see it. That is about the end of the episode. We'll wait till we get there. Okay, that's about the newspaper. Just Me says, isn't the picture about unaliving a president? Yes, I thought that it was from JFK's assassination, but I don't know. Breezy is saying that it's from Eisenhower's visit to Brazil. Dude, I am like awful at history, so I am not.
Yeah, that's not a Kennedy. Kennedy was not riding in a big Cadillac like that. That's not Kennedy. But it is a president.
It reminds me of that parade, though.
I mean, I'm sure that Breezy is speaking from. Breezy must have looked it up because, or maybe Breezy is a little older and remembers the Eisenhower presidency.
Yeah, we don't know. Okay, let's see. Newspaper Mark mentioned. Yeah, I don't know. Somebody said something earlier and I lost it. We'll go back to the parts about the waffle party and the orgy. Because that's not really about this episode. I guess we could talk about it now. That's not really about this episode, but because just me saying who's involved in these orgies. Dylan is married. Well, but it was Dylan's innie, so yeah.
Yeah, your innie's not married.
Right. And Dylan is married having waffle parties. Yes. With those weird people dressed as the Tempers, so who knows? But yeah, that was what I was going to say. I think like that's my original point was I think that's a cheap version of the laser carved head. Which is kind of interesting. Although it has a last name on it. I don't know if it's supposed to be the artist and they just left the artist on, or maybe it's like so the audience knows the artist. I don't know. Because it has like Dario R and then it says another name. So I'm not sure what that is about. Okay, that's about the perpetuity wing. We already talked about that. Okay, so best part, at least my favorite part of the episode, is Mark decides that he is going to do something to, I don't know if his point is just to prove that he needs them back, if it's to get in trouble, if it's to get what he wants, I don't know. But he pretends that Mark W. writes his letter to his Audi, which I think that's the best part of the show when Milchick's reading it. Dear Audi, I don't know if this will reach you, but I'm writing to alert you of the heinous conditions in the severed office to which you have transferred me. The branch is run by a shambolic rube who goes by Milkshake, a man whose stupidity is rivaled only by that of the 9 core principles. If you continue to send me here, please consider strapping a bomb to me so that I may explode both Milkshake and the very spirit of Kier Egan. Wrathfully, your innie Mark W. Which I think that was so funny. And obviously, I mean, he's right. He didn't hide his writing. I mean, because he acts like, who, me? Like, he actually, I don't think expected him to think that Mark W. did it, but it was just really funny. I think. But he takes his card, takes away his job of department chief, which I don't know if he gets it back when he's with the other ones or not, but he takes away his card and gives it to Mark W. And it's like, you're going to have to check in your progress now. And then.
Oh, yeah. Now you're going to be supervised all the time and be double checked. He's trying to humiliate him, I think. I mean, that was really about like trying to humiliate him. And you talked about infantilizing him, like treating him like an entry-level employee and like,
Mm-hmm. And then he just starts laughing and he's like, you don't know what I did to the kitchenette yet. I knew he was just saying that to get him to leave, but I kind of wish he had done something. It would have been funny, I think, if he had done something.
Someone commented way early in this chat that Mark was playing Milchick the entire time. And I think, yes, he's definitely playing him the entire time in that scene, but he's maybe been playing him the entire time since he walked through that door of the severed floor, right?
Yeah, I think he's kind of like, if they don't give me what I want, I'll cause problems type of thing.
No, I think he was planning to charge problems all along, because what he really wants is to like be with his. Oh, you mean like
in this episode? I mean, from the beginning.
Yeah, I mean, he's not a believer anymore.
No. I
mean, I don't think it's just about getting what I want and getting to see his friends. It's partly about that. Yes, it was his chance to run away, but he's been playing him like really since the minute he walked through that door. Even I think he's been playing Milchick even before he knew that his friends weren't there.
Like which part of it? Like from when?
When Milchick first brings Mark in the very beginning of the episode.
This episode. Okay, I thought you meant before this episode.
Well, I mean, it's been developing for a while that Mark was losing his faith, right? Or his, but I think from the minute in this episode when he comes to Milchick's office and there's some discussion, and it like he doesn't know, Mark doesn't know right away that he's not that he doesn't that he's not able to see his friends. I think Mark was planning to be uncooperative even before he knew what Lumen had in mind for him.
Like because they're back in their spots again and can't leave, you mean? Because
Mark wasn't coming back to work that day to go back and be his normal good self.
No, not after he knows that he could go out in the outside world. Yeah. No, I would agree with that. And that's why I said he knew that they knew that he would know that was his letter right away. I think he did that to be a smartass. But I was just saying, I think it would have been funny if he had actually done something to the kitchen.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know why. I keep like imagining, I could see him like, although they don't have animals there, so he would have had to do it himself. But I could just see like him putting like a flaming bag of or something in the, and I don't know why that's what I thought of, but that's what I thought of. So, yeah. But anyway, so the whole point is he runs into his office to get the speaker to try to talk to the board and say, bring my friends back. And that's where I said, I kind of wonder if there's actually anybody listening, but I don't know. And that weird thing that has Chinese or Japanese writing on it, people have already researched. It's a bonsai tree kit. And Milchick does have a bonsai tree in the office. And also he's got this thing that looks like a dog crate or some kind of crate in his office too.
Oh, I saw that. It did look like a
picture somewhere.
Yeah. It was like a box, I guess, but it looked like a dog crate for sure.
Yeah, I'm not sure what that was supposed to be. Jeez, sorry. Yeah, lots of pictures of Milchick's blue office. So where are we? Okay, so it doesn't work. He unplugs the speaker and says, they're not going to talk to you. And then he kicks him out and sends him back in the elevator. So I guess my point is that he caused all this problems just to get what he wanted. And then they essentially were like, okay, we'll bring your friends back. So I feel like I don't know. I guess I feel like if he did that stuff last year, I would have assumed they would have not put up with it. But now they not only put up with it, they gave him what he wanted. I don't think it has anything to do with them being famous. I think they don't want to lose Mark for whatever reason.
They're not famous. We already decided that's a lie, right?
Yeah,
They're
I
not
think
famous.
Yeah, I don't know. What are you doing?
Sorry.
It's okay. I'm just trying to figure out what you're doing. So yeah, they put up with it and they bring his friends back. And then they have that.
I mean, there's another question. Like, were they ever not going to bring? I mean, to assume that like Mark is getting what he wanted, he made them give in. Like, I wouldn't assume that Lumen wasn't going to bring those three back to work.
Oh, so you're saying you think they were going to anyway? Well, then what was the point of bringing in the other team? Especially if it may have only been
make Mark think they were giving him something that they intended to do all along.
That's a good point I hadn't thought of. Okay. What the heck is that click thing? Hold on. Okay, so he sends him back into the elevator, acts like he fires him, sends him back in. And when he comes out the next time, we have this painting. And I forget, I have here somewhere what it's called.
It's called
Fear Pardons His Betrayers.
Yeah.
Now, somebody mentioned, which I hadn't even thought about or noticed, but those seem to be 5 men or 4 men.
Yeah.
I can't count apparently to 4. If these are supposed to represent them, why is there not somebody to represent Helly?
Well, who says they're supposed to represent them?
I kind of assumed that they were because it's saying that they've been, I mean, I'm not saying that that's necessarily what it means, but like to me, the painting was saying, okay, you've been forgiven for what you did going into the real world. We're pardoning you and we brought you back.
To me, the painting was saying, Kier is a great and forgiving overlord who has a track record of forgiving his enemies in the past.
Yeah.
I don't think.
I just, since it seems like they paint things specifically for when things happen, like they seem to be making the paintings there.
There doesn't mean they're not making them to and letting you think they're old and been around for a while. Like they
showed us when they made that fake painting that they're painting them in that O&D, or well, I don't know, they're painting them there, but that they're creating these paintings new. So I just would think if
they're also storing them. We saw like that there some rotate throughout the gallery, and we saw they opened a drawer and they were in there. I mean, I don't think it's a bad guess that this could be a newer painting with some meaning, but there's nothing that really says that, right? No. That it is or isn't or hasn't been around, and they just put this one, whip this out of storage to. I mean, this is like. So 2 things. I'm of 2 minds that this makes me think of crappy motivational posters that your HR department puts up around the office. Mm-hmm. And this kind of reminds me of that. But it also reminds me of like religious imagery that is hung up around places too, particularly with that sword, right? It has this sort of like vaguely, I mean, it's look, it's an objectively terrible painting.
They're all kind of
right. And there's like an army in the background and that bad perspective on weird cityscape in the background. It's just a bad painting, and it's supposed to be a bad painting.
Yeah, it's supposed to represent. I don't know if it's supposed to be a certain style of certain artist or if it's just supposed to be like you said, a bad painting.
I also think even if it was a painting that was meant to say like, oh, Kier's forgiving, the company forgives you, like putting their 4 actual heads there with Helly, a woman's head, wouldn't that be a little even more too on the nose than this already is in terms of Lumen trying to give a message to Mark? Like, wouldn't he be like immediately be like, oh my God, I can't believe we painted that bullshit yesterday and hung it up here?
Well, that's why I'm saying, like, if they made a new painting, you would think they would put them in there. But I guess they probably don't want to.
They wouldn't, because that would be too on the nose to actually put them in it.
And then they would know it's a new painting too if they did that, rather than something that of Kier that shows, like you said, that he's always been like this or whatever.
Yeah, I mean,
but yeah, that perspective's weird.
To Just Me's point, the new employee video is specifically about them, but that's a little bit different messaging with a little bit different purpose.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure if there's more to the painting or not, but I'm not really good at dissecting paintings. So.
I mean, I'm more on the side of they're using these paintings the way you like a company uses motivational posters and uses its own history as a motivational kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. Sorry, I can't quit yawning, and I know it's because I'm thinking about it now. When you think about it, then you can't quit yawning.
I got to move my computer. I got to go stand up. My back is killing me. I sat in a plane for 16 hours. Oh my God. Can't sit anymore. Sorry.
Oh, that's okay.
I'm stand in my kitchen.
So Dylan comes out of the elevator finally, and it's very clear that Dylan just came from what happened, the way he acts, right, to him.
Yeah.
Because he's like, did it work? Did it work? He's pissed about the belt, but he's also asking him if he worked and if it worked. And Mark's like, yeah, it worked.
There.
That works. So yes, it worked. And then Irving comes in and he is yelling for Bert because he was just at his door when he found out he had a boyfriend, husband, whatever. So that's where he comes back at. But Helly, I don't know, doesn't necessarily act like that. If you watch it, because I know the whole thing, is it Helly, is it Helena? If you watch it, she doesn't really act like she came right from being tackled on the stage. I mean, I'm not sure how she would act after that, but it doesn't seem to reference it like theirs did. And she is a little awkward when she hugs him. But could there be other reasons? Yes.
Well, there could be many reasons why she's awkward when she hugs him. First of all, hugging your coworkers is awkward. They just had that weird.
Well, they kissed, so.
And then they had that weird first kiss that was just sort right. Like, there's enough reasons.
I guess that's true. You still wouldn't be.
Yeah,
you could still be awkward. But yeah, I don't know. But there are things that point to it, because when she came out, she didn't seem like she had just been tackled off the stage type of thing.
No, but I mean, none of them, Mark never comes into the room, like, he comes out of an elevator and he doesn't ever, like, it's weird to me that Irv came in the state that he did, because the way Mark came in, like, he
well, Mark, that's why I said I think Mark was like kind of like in the middle of, oh my God, what did I just find out? And that's why he was sort of frantic when he came in, but not as much as Dylan and Irving were in that moment.
I mean, Mark was in a very, like, she's alive, like, but we didn't, just because that's where it cut off, like, what, I don't think that's the moment his consciousness turned off necessarily. Like, that's the moment the show turned off.
And no, that's when the switch went off.
Is it? So you think, like, that's the last thing he can remember? You don't think maybe?
Yes, because that's when he broke in the office and Dylan's fingers went off the switch. That was when Milchick came in. Yeah. So that was definitely implied that was when they were turned off.
Yes, I just mean, does it have to be that? I don't know. I don't think Helly would have to be like, oh, I'm not rolling on the floor with a man on top of me. This is so shocking that I'm waking up like this.
No, yeah, and that's what I'm saying. I don't know how she would necessarily act compared to them. Like, I don't know if there is a way she would act after that. Why was this chat not showing before? None of this chat. It's all of a sudden like a bunch of it. They just brought Mark to a different level of bullying. She's running. Okay, she's running in, but she could have been in the middle. Should have been in the middle of talking. For me, it's the way she was talking with so much hatred of the outies, and I'm pretty sure it's outie Helly thinking about the innies before, yes. Where All City is saying that he ran straight to wellness.
Being up. I mean, he ran around for like 5 full minutes trying to.
But I guess the point is, was he running around like that because he couldn't find it? Because it seemed like he was in a different spot, and that was what he was looking for? Or was he also looking for his friends and was just kind of frantic and then like
for his office also? I mean, he ran around and around past other offices. I think he was looking like
He's
he
kind of
found
lost
the
a little
space
bit.
that had been wellness was the first place he saw. I don't know if he was looking for wellness. I think it's reasonable because the last thing he was thinking about was Gemma. So I think it's reasonable to think that he ran straight to wellness, but he really ran around and around and around, and he was lost. The corridors have changed, it appears. Right?
Yeah. And that's why I wonder too, like why. That to me is also interesting and makes me wonder if it isn't actually that her room disappeared and it's that he's not in the same place. Because same thing like the supply closet. Is he just
Well, he's in the same building because Audi goes there and goes to the same building. He could be in a different floor, but he's
yeah,
in
but
the
you
same
don't know that because we don't see Audi going to the building. Audi could go to a building in another state. You wouldn't know that.
Right. You think Mark moved off screen and we don't know that?
No, I'm not saying he did, but I'm saying technically the only thing we're seeing is him getting in an elevator or getting out of an elevator.
Yeah, they
We
would have
don't
had
know
to
if he's in
move.
an
They
elevator.
would have had. I mean, do you think they moved Milchick to a new location? Do you think? I don't think. I mean, I get what you're saying because we didn't see Mark drive into the parking lot. We don't know.
Yeah, like maybe it wasn't that they moved a new team in. Maybe they moved him out. I don't know. I'm just,
I don't think that's it. I think it could be a different floor, and that would explain why the corridors are different. But I don't think that they moved to a different. I mean,
yeah,
I just don't think so because for the show to go on, his sister has to move. Like everybody we've ever seen has to move to a new town.
Okay,
So,
but they could have moved him to a different level, a different office. So I guess the question is, why did they change everything? Like, I get that they disappeared her. I get that they gave him a new team, but why does they seem to have a different office? Why? I mean, I wouldn't think the whole reason was the supply closet.
well, I don't know. I don't know why. I could guess that maybe they're trying to disorient Mark and his people because
Maybe, or see how their memory works if they remember where it's at.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. But so let's see. Dylan's like, what's wrong? You pour up there. Well, he comes out. Okay. And this is again where I was saying I kind of questioned about bringing her back is Helly wanted to leave and she finally got out, whether it was that she was put to sleep, whatever, she finally got out. And I question, is it kind of mean that Mark brought her back because Mark wanted to see her? It just, I kind of think about all that stuff.
I mean, I think that really is a way oversimplification that Mark brought her back because Mark wanted to see her. I mean, he wanted to see her. He wants
find out what happened.
He wants to know that these people are safe after what they've done, but he also wants to continue with what other subversive plan they had. He didn't want he didn't want to see her.
Well,
I mean,
they're implying that he likes her, he's in love with her. I don't know, whatever.
And also that he could bring her back. Her Audi has to consent. Like, he didn't bring her back.
No, but I guess what I'm saying, the point I'm making is if they really let them leave the job, like if he really cared about her, would he be like questioning, do I want to make her come back into this life? I'm just kind of, looking at the morality angle of it. I mean, I'm not saying that she necessarily was brought back because of him. So I'm saying from his point of view.
Because of Milchick's lie that they all wanted to leave here.
Mm-hmm.
No one wanted to come back.
She wanted to leave for how long? And I just kind of feel like if she finally got out of there, out of this hell, I mean, she hated it enough she tried to commit suicide, literally. So I just questioned, does he not even think, should I leave her be? Like, I don't know. I just wonder that there shouldn't be some kind of
maybe he knows that that's a lie. I would say he knows not to really always believe Milchick, and maybe he knows that
they wanted to come back and didn't, or something.
Well, not that they wanted to come back, but that they wouldn't choose to not exist anymore. That, like, Helly has changed since that day that she changed, and that Irv has changed a lot. He no longer is the true believer that he was, and and Dylan no longer is just the corporate suck up for perks. But like, maybe he knows not. I don't know. We don't know Mark's inner monologue, but maybe he knows that that's just not true, and they wouldn't make that decision.
Yeah, and like I said, maybe he thinks they went back, but just not in the same office too. especially if he did maybe move offices. Yeah, I don't know. I just wonder that they didn't, touch on it. Not that it matters, but okay. So this is when he says that he thought he was fired because he tried to sabotage the people, and Dylan wants to know what happened, and Mark says that maybe they're waiting for them to tell each other because they don't know what happened and they're listening. And it to me seems strange that at that moment, Helly's like, hey, where's the security camera? Like, it was after Mark's like, they could be listening to us. And she's like, oh, it's not here. I don't know. That was a little contrived to me. It was really weird timing, in my opinion. Does it mean anything? I don't know. But, and then Irving comes in, and then Miss Wong says that Milchek's waiting for them. And they go to the break room, but, and was the break room?
The break
room where they made him repeat things before.
Yeah, it was the bad room. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I thought. So they should be a little concerned. But they start talking about them being replaced, and Mark says they weren't specific counterparts. But Dylan starts saying, and this is again like me kind of questioning the idea like of the morality of everything, is Dylan's like, oh, you shouldn't feel bad that they're gone and dead. And Mark's like, well, I wasn't thinking about it that way. And he's like, well, you shouldn't, because they probably deserved it. No, okay, that's where you go into, first of all, do they really die, I guess, is part of the question. And the second question is, what does it say about Dylan that he's that flippant that he doesn't care what happened to them?
I mean, so this is like at the crux of the show. Like, if you stop coming in there, do you really? I mean, it effectively is death. You're a person, and you cease to exist. That is a death, right?
Yeah,
that's death. I mean, they're an independent so when Helly says you're not a person, I mean, this goes to like what makes you a person, which people have been debating since like the ancient Greeks, right? But like they're a fully formed personality and consciousness that. Right? That.
Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah.
I would agree that it's dying. And Dylan's just kind of like, oh, it doesn't matter. I'm not sure what that says about him, that he said that. I mean, yes, it was for comic relief, but I feel like there's more to it than that. And we also have later, and we haven't quite gotten to that yet, but Helly's saying like about how they're not the same as their outies, that she makes that comment, like they're not the same at all. So it's not just also about, are they a fully formed person? It's also, are they an individual, or are they still part of?
I think so. I think they're an individual that is part of a whole. Yes. I think they're I think they're an individual, and I think really, so Helly says you're not a person, but I think
they're a person, but I'm talking about when she says that like they're not their outies, that they're completely different. Like, are they? That's part of one of the, I think, the big questions.
She shares personality traits with Helena, as far as we could tell from the short, or Helena, however you say it, Helena. I think she shares personality traits with Helena that just evolves or manifests differently in the different sides of her, right? There's like a rebelliousness in both of them, right? Or Mark, I think some of his personality traits are similar. Yeah, I think that. So Dylan, we don't really know. We've seen nothing of Dylan on the outside, but I think like maybe there's like an essence of the person that just comes out in different ways in the different situations, much like there might be for any of us in different situations.
Right, and that's where what Golden the Child had said earlier, like they're different on the inside, are they? And I said, I know that's like one of the big questions about with the show. Are you the same person, or are you a different person? It's not just, are you a person? It's like, are they their own individual who should be able to make their own choices, which is what a lot of it's about. And that's why I said, I think telling them that they could leave is more the illusion of a choice. It's not an actual choice.
Now I feel like I'm getting dangerously close to telling a machine that it's a person, because it like, right?
Yeah. But that's my point. Like, what if Helly really said at the end of this episode, no, I want to go? would he have let her leave? And that's why I'm saying I think it's
Well, what do you mean he? Who's he?
Milchek. He says, "Oh, guys can leave. You're going to make the choice, not your Audi." I think that's total bullshit.
That's
I don't think
the Audi. First of all, I think the Audi makes the choice, and I don't think Milchek or even Harmony was high enough to say. It's like that decision of whether they can retire is, I think, above.
Well, I guess the point is he's like, I'm not your jailer. So he's like kind of saying, if you don't want to come back, we'll tell the Audi you're not coming back. And that's what I'm saying. I think it's an illusion of a choice. I think if she said she didn't want to come back, I think they would have forced her back again.
Well, we already saw that you can be forced back.
Right. But I'm saying after Milchek says this to them, I still think the same thing would have happened if she said no.
Oh, because everything Milchek says is a lie, for sure.
Yeah. And that's my whole point. Yes. Okay, so he tells them about them being famous. Okay, so they go to the break room. Okay, and where'd it go? Dylan's comment surprised just me too. So Miss Wang uses a black card to open the break room. Now, when Dylan used a black card to get in the data room, in the server room, do you remember where he got it? Because when I was watching the end of the last episode, I was like, where did he get that? He stole it or something, didn't he?
I think it was stolen. Yeah.
Yeah, I just wondered because I thought about it because she has a black
Mark
card.
might have stolen it.
I don't remember, but I'm assuming the black cards are like open all doors, maybe, and the blue card only open. And that's interesting too. You go back to colors and things like, well, black's the absence of color, but regardless of that, like I wonder, can the black maybe like go in the elevator and override it or something? Because you have to wonder what else those cards can do.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's just a higher security level that you're allowed.
Yeah, but I'm just wondering if there's more truth in that because of the color thing. I don't know. I'm just saying.
No, do not go down into colors. Of course, managers have a different color than workers.
No, yes, I know. Okay, now let's see.
Sometimes you just have to pick a color.
Yeah. I want to look at here this room. Because I think that the things in this room are important, and yes, a lot of it has to do with color. Sorry,
the new break room.
Yeah, I didn't rename them, but I think it's okay for this long. We'll just put it.
That's what you're showing, the new break room.
Yes, the new break room. Okay. Which one? This one, I think. Yeah. Okay. So again, purple. I won't keep saying that, but
oh my God, that's barely the tiniest purple glow.
No, it's the whole seats are, and there's a light in the back that's purple. See that balloon?
Right.
It's purple.
All right.
Light.
Yeah. All right.
Which those are cool lights. Now, poster. I'm a frolic, which it seems like everybody, myself included, at first saw it and read fromaholic, which I did. I definitely did. Because I thought that too. But frolicaholic, frolic is one of the tempers. What is it? Frolic, woe. Oh God, wrath, or no, not wrath.
Yeah.
Something that's like wrath. I don't know. It's one of the tempers. I thought I had it written there, but maybe I didn't. Frolic, dread. I do have it written here. Woe, frolic, dread, and malice. So that's what that's referencing.
Yeah.
And then Lumen is listening. I think that must be what's going to like project it. That looks like a lap. You know what, though? That can't be a laptop because they don't have that kind of technology, but it looks like a laptop.
It's some kind of little screen. It's whatever.
Yeah, whatever.
I mean, it says Lumen is listening, and it's supposed to be like, oh, we're listening to your needs, but they're also listening.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. Just me said it was Grainer's card. That's right. That's how he got the card. Okay. Red, green, and blue, of course, but also Be Merry. This is from, and I meant to take a screen capture of it. I didn't, but there is, whenever Dylan's going through the protocols and gets to the overtime contingency, there's one called Beehive. So that's probably what that's in reference to. We don't know what that is yet. Those things in the background, I'm not sure whether those are supposed to be fire or a version of the Lumen drops, because they definitely, to me, look a lot like the Lumen drop, which we still don't know what that means, but you know. Okay. Grin and Baird. It again, he lives in the Baird, whatever it was I said earlier. And it's also an Egan. Lumen is listening. Now, like you said, I think this means that they're spying on them. I think it could even just mean Helly. It could be if Helly is Helena, it could be, you know, they're still listening to you. It could be that simple. Let's see what else I took. I don't think I took them. I took them of some of the things, not everything. Okay, so the building, which when I listened to this, I immediately thought that was Keanu Reeves. And according to Internet Movie Database, it is Keanu Reeves.
It is Keanu Reeves.
Which is awesome. Which kind of makes me wonder, now again, are some things done more like kind of trolling us to begin with? But it being Keanu kind of makes me think, is it possible that this is some kind of simulation? Because it brings up Matrix.
I saw a quote from the people somebody from the show, and they said that just the kind of voice they were going for, like Keanu Reeves' voice was perfect, and they just got him to do it.
That's interesting. All right. Okay, he's happy. Okay. We don't need all these. I just got, okay. So it says, okay. It says that it's the Lumen Administration Building, Bridge 501. Okay. And it says that it's changed since its siring of 1870. And also, using the word siring is kind of interesting because generally siring means like a person being sired, not like a building.
So it struck me as odd also, but in that they have like anthropomorphized this building, and it's talking about this building kind of as its father, maybe, and that's why, right?
I guess that's possible. But at any rate, it shows different versions of what it looked like.
Is that a volcano in the background?
It does look like a volcano. I wasn't sure. I don't know though. It looks like that smoke might be coming from the chimney. It's hard.
Oh yeah, it is smoke out of the chimney.
Yeah, I think it is. They have horses or something there. Yeah, horse and carriage. You know, that reminds me of that's Singer Sauer. Is that who it is? I don't know. It reminds me of painting. This thing right here. I'm sure you've seen that in some painting. Yeah, that was
like John Singer Sargent. It reminds you
of
John
Singer Sargent. That's what it is.
Yeah.
I said John Singer Sauer. Yeah, that reminded me of that. Now, I also it says Lumen Industries. Okay, I was like, what does that say? And this also reminds me of the mill near my house, but that's irrelevant. And then obviously through time, it gets different, changed, built. It's like a Bob the Builder thing. Dark blue building. Okay, we see Kier. Now, you had mentioned what is it? Heat Miser? Heatmeister?
Yeah, Heat Miser from the old
the 70s
Christmas.
Yeah,
festival.
That is definitely what these are looking like.
Like when Irv does the dance and he spins around, it's exactly
it's so much like it. But also, I did just want to mention though, because I do think this one thing is might be a reference to the Matrix to be funny. And I have a picture here somewhere where they're like this. Like that definitely makes me think that could be kind of a little joke. Not that it necessarily means anything. It's a little joke. Like because like when they do like, I know Kung Fu. That's what that reminds me of.
I don't think they.
Yeah, I'm not saying it means anything. I'm just saying I wonder if it was done to be funny. But anyway.
I don't.
Okay, Lumen. That's not important. These are just different. I had taken a lot. There's the Heat Miser. Yeah, that definitely is so much like that. And this also proves too that they were recording them because you can tell that it's made like they're recordings of their voices.
Well, they are actual recordings of their voices.
No, they are. But I mean, it sounds like a recording as opposed to like they put it in the video. You know what I mean? Like it sounds like it was like a tinny recording type
There's
thing.
Heat Miser.
Yeah. And he's like, huh? And then he's like, why are we still working in the dark? Was his quote, which was I think the Irving's was, where'd it go? Righteous anger and Mark is inspiration. And then I took pictures and then love and they're kissing. And that's whenever Dylan's like, what the shit? Which is also
nobody knew they kissed. Yeah.
Yeah. And then if you watch them, they both look down like they're embarrassed. It's cute. Let's see. There was a couple more things. Okay. The blueprints for the candy. This talks about that they have new snacks. Not that you need to know the snacks, but we're done. Incentives being reformed from hall passes to pineapple bobbing, and that'll be coming out in a second here. The Christmas mints. That is funny though with Dylan with his mints. He's like, huh? Hall pass now. Okay, so she's like, yay, we're running. Now, this I think is very interesting. Her hands are very clearly tied. Why would her hands be tied for bobbing for pineapples?
Well, I don't know if people used to secure your hands when you were up for apples or something loosely. I don't know.
I don't know about that. I think it's more like I said, it's showing that like they're really not free, I think is what it's implying. I don't think it's like some deep meaning. I think it's just showing like that they're not free, that they're still being, forced to do all this type of thing. But bobbing for pineapples is odd. Mirrors, there's so many things with reflection too, and like which makes sense. I mean, there's a lot of imagery with reflections because of like reflection of yourself, and like we talk about, are you the same person, that kind of thing. So that's why there's mirrors. Now, goat. I don't know what the two bunnies are about, unless that's like the whole section
Is that a goat
or whatever.
I thought it was a deer.
No, it's got. This isn't a high res picture, but you can see it's got two horns.
All right, Google tells me it's customary to tie your hands behind your back when you bob for apples so you don't cheat.
Really? I have never heard of that. Okay. Now I believe you if you say it. I just never heard of that.
I mean, it's Google. Take it for what it's worth, right?
No, I know. Kier flying, and then the water tower, and thank Kier for the Macrodat uprising. And I think that's the end of the pictures I had for that. All the yellow, well, like orangish yellow. I don't know. They're interesting lights. But there we go. Those were the pictures I wanted to say. That's interesting. I was reading what it said about Keanu. So yeah, then he's like, this is where Milchek is like, oh, I did want to mention this too. The picture, and I showed it, I'm not going to go back and show it again, but the picture that it shows with her, like, it shows like a view up from water with her bobbing for the pineapples. Yeah. There is a scene in the trailer of Helly looking like she looks more like she's drowning, but she's like screaming underwater of some, it's like a frame of, and I didn't take the picture. Somebody else took it from the trailer. I didn't bother with taking screen captures from the trailer, but I've seen people mention that like looks like she's drowning in the video. So I think that could be, foreshadowing whatever the hell that is that's in the trailer. And yeah, that's what I have for that. So yeah, Milchek is like, you guys can choose whether you'll come back. It's up to the innies. You guys can talk. There's no cameras or microphones anymore. But yet they just watched a video that says Lumen is listening. So that's bullshit. And they talk about, what happened. Mark says what he saw. Helly completely lies. Now here's where we get into, why did she lie? Did she lie because she doesn't want them to know she's part of Lumen? Did she lie because she's just scared of the reaction? Or did she lie because she's not Helly and she doesn't want him to know she's Helena? I don't know. I think she's Helena. And I know that that's something that's going to be debated probably for a while, but how do you feel about that?
I don't have enough evidence to say that she's Helena, so for now she's Helly for me. I think that she lies because she's ashamed and embarrassed that she's part of the Egan family, and she only has 3 friends. She only knows 3 people, and she doesn't know how they would react or treat her, and she's scared to tell. And I mean, to be fair, if they just blooped, she hasn't had time to process it herself.
That's true. Yeah. I don't know, because I totally see what you're saying. I don't know if she would be afraid of their reaction, or if it would be more like, these are the only people I know, so we should be truthful. Like, I don't know how you would react in that situation. But I mean, nobody notices the fact that Irv won't answer. He doesn't tell either. And nobody seems to like even mention. I mean, like,
but Irv doesn't tell a preposterous story about running to a gardener at night.
Okay, that's a good point.
Out on it. Yeah. Irv just changes the subject, and he says the world is not what we thought it was, or the world is not for us, or something like that. He says, right? The world is not for us.
But I guess my point is that they don't really. Well, he didn't really push her either, though. I guess, but
she came out with why. I mean, we all like she concocts this lie for whatever reason, which is always a bad, like, if you're gonna make up a lie, give as little info as possible, right? Irv doesn't lie, he just changes the subject, and I think it's clear that he's traumatized.
I know that's why. I'm just saying.
He does later tell. Right? He's not.
Yeah.
So
I have to.
People think she's lying because she's Helena undercover. Yes. And she's telling a lie because she doesn't really know I don't know why she's telling a lie to cover or whatever, and she doesn't know what those guys know or whatever. I'm not saying I believe it's 100% impossible that she's Helena.
Yeah.
I just haven't seen enough evidence to make me say that she's Helena, and so for now she's Helly for me.
No, I would say you're right. There's not enough evidence. I just think it makes total sense that if they're trying to find out what's going on, that they send her in as Helena. Because if they can turn the innies on in the outside world, they have to be able to turn the outies on in the innie world. I mean,
I don't think they have to turn them down.
Well, whatever, turn them off, block, whatever.
I mean, I think they just don't. Yeah, I think it's possible for an out. I agree with you.
It's possible for an Audi, but they could have.
It's possible for an Audi to go down there somehow.
Right.
That's what the ship.
Right. So yeah, like I said, I don't know that I see proof of it. I just think it makes total sense that she would do it.
But to what end? Why would you send Helena in there?
I don't know. For all we know, maybe she's recording it to like make another PR stunt. Oh, look, we're nice to them now and they're all happy and I have proof. I mean, who the hell knows?
I guess. I mean, why not?
The Audis would have to agree to that, but
why not say they were so unhappy we retired them?
Yeah, I guess.
We gave them the choice. We gave them the choice, and they decided to retire and not come back. They were so unhappy. We're not.
But I just wonder, it could be just like showing the working conditions type of thing, like not even necessarily for them, but just this is what we're doing now. Because I mean, they want people to want to be severed, and that also gets us back to why, like, what's the ultimate point of severed? I mean, I think the ultimate point of severed is to get everybody severed so you can control them.
Well, I mean, I think the part where the congresswoman's wife got severed so she wouldn't have to deliver a baby, which is maybe the most shallow and selfish reason ever to create basically a new life form to do your dirty work for you, and really is dangerously close to a type of slavery, I think, right? Or indentured servitude or something. But I agree with you that some people think it would be great for everything. And like in terms of the congressman and his wife, like I think they have that sort of casual, sloppy attitude toward technology for their own benefit that gets us in trouble as a species, right?
Right. But I mean, I guess my thoughts are, just like I said, you can turn one off, one on, that you could get the one to think a certain way or to do what you want, and then turn the other one off and control what they do, type of thing, like make like an army or whatever. And I don't know. I mean, like I see valid both points. Like if somebody said to me, I'll give you $1 million and you don't have to work for it, you can just go to sleep and not deal with it. There's a part of me that says, yeah, that'd be cool. But then there's the other party that says, yeah, but you're losing your life. Like, why would you give up, that percentage of your life? You wouldn't. But like, I can see sort of why, like that idea, yeah, we're talking still about the documentary.
Yeah, I just don't think that there's enough. I don't see the purpose. I mean, I could see you've named a couple of reasons why you might send Helena down there as an Audi to see for her. I mean, maybe could she be having a change of heart and said, I want to see it for myself. Let me go in. Although why the chairman of the board's daughter would ever think she would get a true unvarnished picture of what's going on down there, right?
I don't know. Unless maybe they want to know. Could it just be they want to know what really happened to them when they went up and they think they're not hearing the whole story because they didn't see it from their point of view? You need to be
clear on they and they.
Sorry. Could Lumen want to know what they experienced in the Audi's body, like what really happened? Could they be hiding things? Could they have told people things they don't know about, and they want to know what truly happened?
Right.
And like, plus, Irving may or may not be investigating them, and they don't know. Like, it would help to. I don't know. I'm just.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, it seems like it would be really easy to raid Irv's house and find all that stuff.
It does.
It would be really easy to. I mean, I could see us maybe Helena being like, I want to see what's going down on there for myself. And maybe the reason they're trying to make it all seem nicer has nothing to do with Mark. It has to do with Helena seeing a perfectly whitewashed picture. Maybe it's not about making Mark feel better and want to stay. Or
I hadn't thought of that.
Maybe they don't want Helena to. Maybe it is Helena's Audi, and they don't want her to see
What's really going on?
What's
Yeah.
really going on. They want her and her father to continue to believe that it's a wonderful, although they both have a very bad attitude towards any, like in the season finale when her father was like, ugh, when I saw what that thing tried to do to you when Haley tried to commit suicide. And he is a very, like, definitely doesn't think of them as people either. And it is a way that people from centuries ago thought about their indentured servants as not being a person, right? I mean, in this country, legally, an enslaved person was only 3/5 of a person, right? Or a freed person, right?
Yeah, no, you're right. Yeah,
a freed black person was still only 3/5 of a person for like population purposes.
Yeah, like, and it brings up questions of that, of, you know, like I said, what is a person? What is your identity? What makes you who you are? There's a lot of those questions.
I'm not saying. So, you know, who commented in the chat that, was it just me, or somebody was like, everyone thinks it's Helena. And I was like, not everyone, but
no, not most people think it's Helena. I think the consensus in the chat the other night was that it's Helena. I think
there are some theories that I'm willing
to. I'm sure not everybody agrees, and that's
I'm not saying I'm going to die on this hill. I'm saying I don't see the top of that hill right now.
Oh, wait, he said, I'm sorry. He said everyone seems to think it's Helena, but he said that is Helly. I guess he doesn't agree either. I missed that part. Sorry. I was saying you thought it was Helena. I guess he thinks it's Helly. I thought he thought it was Helena too.
I think it's Helly, and she's acting a little weird, but who wouldn't at this point? And especially that since she's trying to cover up a lie. But there are and throughout this episode, there are more pieces of evidence that she's acting weird and that it could be Helena.
Yeah, it just really depends. And Just Me said, I think it's Helena, or Helly was woken up and tortured and it's really her. That's possible too. They could have woken her up in the real world, or even just tortured her, maybe not woke her up, but I guess that would be essentially woken her up. But I mean, she could still be her
just because the show ended the last episode at the moment that Dylan was stopped,
that doesn't mean they didn't re-wake people up.
We don't know what happened to any of them individually between when they walked through that door. If it's been 5 months, was Mark just going about his Mark Scout going around his life, and Mark S was dormant for 5 months? Or
probably, but that doesn't mean all 3 of them were, I guess is the point. We don't know. Yeah. So okay. Also, he does think it's Helena personally, but now that everyone thinks it's Helena, I'm thinking it's Helly because it's too obvious.
Yes. This show is not obvious, right? And if you've seen interviews, like I saw Patricia Arquette on stage at like Comic-Con, or I think the cast all just did Comic-Con Brazil also, and like every theory, Patricia Arquette was like, no, you're wrong, that's not even close. She was like hardcore, like, no, totally wrong, not even on the, like, everything.
Yeah. There's what do you say, that there's danger in doing that. Because you do that and then somebody says something close, and like if you don't say that, then that means it's true, so you got to be careful. There. John answers, hello, says, I think the last scene showed what numbers do now. One theory thinks Mark is already undergoing the reintegration process. I don't know.
I mean, that's definitely what Mrs. Cobel, what Harmony was experimenting with, right? With the candle. I mean, she put Mark and Ms. What's her name together to see what would happen. She put the candle there to see if either one of them would react to the candle. And Milkshake was like, what are you doing? And she's like, shh, don't tell anyone. Just let me do it, right?
You're just going to keep calling him Milkshake, huh?
I'm going to call Milkshake forever now. Like, she was messing with it for sure. And it didn't maybe trigger Mark, obviously, at that moment. But to John's point, maybe it started him on a path of reintegration. It, like, maybe, you know, it could be the candle is a trigger, but he doesn't, like, boom, wake up. But, like, Mrs. Cobell was playing with fire. And maybe there's a spark, an ember brew. I'm very tired. You know what I mean?
I know what you mean. I know what you're meaning. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, although I would think maybe they would try putting them to sleep or something, considering Irving may or may not be remembering
When
his
you say put him to sleep, you must mean just let
I
him
mean, like literally let him sleep.
like just letting them. They're not sleeping. They're totally.
No. I'm saying literally sleep because I'm saying Irving takes a nap in the office and he's seeing part of his real life.
Yeah.
So I'm saying if they're experimenting with reintegration, it would make sense for them to say take a nap. That's why I said I meant literally.
Okay,
like
yeah.
putting them
You mean
out.
literally take?
Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah. John says they said the cloning theory is wrong. I'm assuming that was in an interview.
Yeah, they did say cloning is wrong.
I gotta, I never thought. I'm a little upset now because I should have thought to like start taping all the late shows and like searching for anything on them, and I didn't even think to. Usually, I go through through the DVR and search for the different actors when there's a show I want to see.
And so cloning is wrong, but you know how these interviews go, like cloning is wrong, but that doesn't mean maybe transferring consciousness to another body is wrong.
Yeah.
Or
they're not going to give super. Yeah, they're not going to give like specific answers. And sometimes things can be kind of vague. Whoops. Says, so it could be consciousness reintegration. It could be.
Yeah.
And All City says, I think the end of the episode gave us a big hint of what it is. And I know somebody else, I had starred that one about the end screen with her thinks it's medical info. Well, let's, we do have to talk about that, but let's first get through. Okay, so we were just talking about that. So Irving said he's going to go talk, or Dylan said he's going to go talk to Irving. Helly goes and talks to Mark. And that's when she says, were you happy in the wedding photo? And he says that he wants to save Miss Casey because they're the same. It's his outie. They're the same-ish people. And that's when she's like, no, we're not the same as outies and we don't owe them. And that's where a lot of people kind of think that she's talking about the opposite, if it's Helena.
So I've seen that theory. I get it, but couldn't it just be also Helly being like, especially after what she's seen, and could Helly be a little bit trying to convince herself that she's not the horrible person, that she's not an idiot? Like everything that she hates about Lumen, she found out she really is. And she could be. So that's why
you're totally right. And that's why I said, I'm not saying that I see evidence necessarily it's Helena. I don't know, feel like it is or thought it was or whatever, when I read that was what was going through my head. Because it makes sense it could happen. Okay, any rate, she says she'll stay. She'll help find Miss Casey because she's one of them. And now we get Dylan's conversation with Irving, where Irving says, about Bert and about that he found out he was with someone. And he says that he should be happy. He's happy, but he hasn't been happy since he didn't care about being happy. And he didn't know anything but what he was doing at the job, basically, is what he says. And he wants to leave and end the pain. And Dylan says to him, don't call it that. And we get back to this conversation. Do they die? I mean, what he is suggesting is tantamount to committing suicide because he's in love with this guy. And Dylan, tries to convince him not to do that because he's his friend. He does tell him about the painting and says that it's not the break room hallway. I did think the break room hallway was darker. I kind of wonder why they made the other hallways darker because that's kind of confusing. Like, I think they should have made all the hallways white unless it's that hallway. You know what I mean? Because I noticed even Milkwick's hallway was kind of dark and it was could be a little confusing. But he says it's not the break room hallway. It's different. We think it's the testing floor, obviously. But I like that scene. That's a nice scene when, he's like, I'm your favorite perk or whatever. That is just a cute scene. Okay, let's see. John says, one idea I wonder is about Dario. His badge says he's 39th severed person, but looks in his late 20s. That suggests chip transfer to a younger body. I don't know. I didn't look at his badge. I would have to look at his badge.
I didn't look at his badge either. I just watched it.
I know somebody was saying about they think that maybe he's been there for like hundreds of years or something like that. But they said before when the severed chip was made, it wasn't made that long ago. They could be, but he could be one of the first ones, I guess. Maybe, hey, but we talk about, is it possible that girl was severed and she's a kid? So yeah, maybe I guess he could have still been severed like as a kid.
Yeah, I mean, John is right. That guy is, I just Googled him. That's what I was doing on my phone. He's 30 in real life, that guy, or he'll be 30 this year. Chip transfer to a younger body. Yeah.
It does seem interesting that he would be severed so long ago.
So 39 severed doesn't really mean anything to me unless I could see like what number Helly is. Is she like only the 45th, or is she like the 245th severed person? Like, I don't really know how many severed people there are. It's not.
I think at one point they told what year they started doing it. I think somewhere.
I mean, it's common enough that everybody knows about it out in the world, but it's uncommon enough that people are kind of like disapproving of it, and like it's still kind of an odd, weird thing, right?
Yeah, it's kind of like it's something that not everybody agrees with. But let's see. So, okay, now the computer, hello, when it says hello, Miss Cobel, and he gets pissed off. I assume you probably agree that I think that's just like he wants to be respected, and he's a little pissed that nobody's changed the computer and put his name on it. Like, I
think that's very good evidence that it hasn't been 5 months, because certainly IT should have taken care of that.
That's true. I hadn't even thought of that.
I mean, I thought that was really evidence that it hasn't been very long.
Huh. I had not thought about that. That is a good point. I was going to say, I haven't been giving any announcements since it's 11:30. I will just say, if you haven't, please take a minute to like and subscribe. You can find all our other live streams under the live tab, interviews under the video tab. And of course, make sure you check out Scifivision.com if you haven't. And we do have a, well, not we as in me, Julie, and Scarlett have a From live stream tomorrow at 11 p.m. Eastern. And there's a watch party at 10 in Discord. And, that's the other thing. I realized we've been talking so long, and I never did put up the link for StreamYard here. And I told some people I wanted them to call in, and then I forgot and got kind of sucked into this. So apologies for that. But I will get the link here and copy it in case anybody wants to let us know what you think. Hey, Martin, let me paste.
I'm looking. So thank you for posting that comment. I'm looking at their badges online. So I guess we think this employment code tells what number of person they are. It doesn't actually say that, but they all have an employee code, and the numbers get higher, and Helly's number 988. So
yeah, so
that's what it really means. That's 1,000 people severed. Yeah, that guy's a long time ago. And like Irving, who's been in 4 years, is like 454. Yeah. If that's what that number means. Thank you for posting that. That was helpful for me to look at those. Yeah, I think the Mrs. Cobel thing. Yeah, I mean, certainly Milchick takes it as an insult and a sign that he's not taken seriously, or they're not acting quickly. I mean, as a viewer, I kind of definitely take it as a sign that Mrs. Cobel is coming back, which we all knew anyway. But yeah, I think mainly it's a sign. I think mainly that was there to show that it hasn't been that long.
Yeah, it could be. I thought it was more just kind of like a respect thing, like he was pissed off about it,
I mean, he is. Also, he was still moving boxes into that office, and if it's been 5 months, why were his boxes not unpacked yet?
Yeah, and like nobody was back till now. That's the only thing I mean.
But the work is so important and has to go on, right? Like, I mean, I guess there are other MDR teams around, and maybe losing one MDR team for 5 months wouldn't be a, I don't know, but I mean, I think if there's a lot of MDR teams, and we did see another team today, then maybe losing one team for 5 months would be a big deal.
Yeah.
But much has been made of how important their work is, and if they are like defragging human consciousness, like, do you want that to stop? I think it hasn't been 5 months. I think he wouldn't, unless like for 4 months they were like planning to bring Cobel back, and he just got promoted. But I think it's there mainly to show that it's not 5 months gone.
Unless like he has to be with that team, like maybe each person like stays with the team. You know what I mean? Like they weren't back, so he wasn't back, type of thing. I don't know.
Well, do you think he only supervises those 4 people?
I don't know. I really don't know. That's a good question. Martin says, I want to rewatch season 1 of Severance. So I'm so much more into it this rewatch. I wasn't sure what was going on most of the first time. Yeah, I still feel like I need to rewatch the first season once I have time, but I just haven't had time. So I totally get that. And even if you can't stay, that's okay. Thank you at least for coming. It's appreciated. Just me. Did they repaint Miss Cobell's office? I don't remember it being that much blue or that masculine, but I could be completely wrong. This goes back to, is he on a different floor? I mean, if the office room where they're at MDR is different, maybe he is on a different floor and everything's different. I don't know. I mean, for all we know, they could have tried to see, and that's why I sometimes said, like I said earlier, like, is it possible maybe they brought actors in to see how he would react? Like, could it be they moved him to a different floor to see how upset he would get, how he would react, and they just took another room and, wrote wellness on it so he would think it was gone and that other room still exists elsewhere?
Yeah.
I don't know. Just an idea. All right. So, Milchek tells Dylan his wife's name is Gretchen. And this is when he shows him, no, wait, I have a picture of the blueprints. So
you mean this is when he tells another big fat lie?
Likely, yeah. Let me find the picture here. I do want to put up the picture. All right, let's do screen share.
Oh, Martin, you're talking about the Marauders map at Hogwarts, where you can watch it.
Wait, what?
Look at Martin's comment that he wants.
I'd like that map, then watch and navigate the characters as I'm watching the map at the same time.
Yeah, like the Marauders map.
Yeah, like the Marauders map. That is true. Okay, share screen. All right, there we go. Allow. Okay, so this map. He says, your wife's Gretchen. And he says, here's the renovation of the Audi family visitation suite. And he says, nobody else has a family, so they don't know about this. So you shouldn't tell them because they might resent you, which is kind of suspicious.
Okay, can I just say, Milchik, just because a person doesn't have children doesn't mean we have a family, you mother.
I agree. I know. But the other thing is the fact he doesn't want to tell anybody, number one. And number two, when he says, does this mean I get to see my family? He says, if you take it at the room at what it says at face value, yeah. Well, who answers like that? He says things so freaking cryptically.
Well, I think that he's actually maybe being a little honest and being like, I'm not really telling you the truth. Yeah, that's what it says. But why would they? Why would it
look like the from symbol? I just want to say they look like tree roots or like I know they're not related to from. I'm just saying that's what made me think of. But I think it's, yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
I don't understand why an Audi family would come there to visit, because you come home at 5:00 every night to your family. It's not like the Audi like your family misses you. You go to work like every other person in the world and you come home at 5:00. And like, why would an Audi family come there?
I don't know. But I think my opinion on all this is that they are doing things to keep Dylan like on their side. So he'll kind of maybe help them and do what they ask, type of thing. Just like they did with the perks. They're bribing them, I think. I think it's that simple. Now, whether it's true or not is irrelevant. I think they want him to think that. And I don't know. Maybe they think if these people leave, Mark will leave.
Yeah, but Jamie, they can't leave. They can't leave. This idea that there's a threat that they would leave is a false thing.
That's true.
They can't leave.
As long maybe as they don't want them to be trouble, or maybe they want them to rein Mark in. It could be any of those.
I mean, as long as the Audi's on board, they show up there every day. Right? There's no leaving.
You're right. You're totally right. I want to bring this up. We did not, because I stopped using the pictures and I forgot to mention it. Somebody standing behind Mark. Now, I don't know if I should bring the picture or if you know what I'm talking about. Do you know what they're talking about?
No.
Okay, let me bring up the picture then. Hold on, I gotta find it. Okay, here's a good picture. Let me share it here. And that was my fault. I forgot about it. It wasn't intentional. Okay, there's somebody in the background watching.
I remember that. There was a person in the hallway, and Mark turns around and they like scoot over to the side a little bit.
Yeah. So I thought maybe it was just Milchick or something, but it looks like a white person. It doesn't look, yeah. Some people have said it's a different version of Mark. I've heard that theory. I'm not sure why that makes sense, but that's what they think. I don't know. What do you think? Some people said Grainer. Yeah, I think Grainer's dead too, but that would be interesting.
Dead.
Yeah. I don't know. Do you have any theories?
I mean, there could be a new Grainer, right? Somebody got his job. That job has to be filled. Maybe that's introducing a new Grainer character. Yeah, that was kind of weird.
Yeah.
And is it, whoever it is, I feel like looking at this shot, it's kind of like a metaphor for Outie Mark looking over Innie Mark's shoulder a little. Like this, is this integration, like in a picture kind of, right?
Yeah, like maybe it's like foreshadowing that.
Foreshadowing or metaphor that Mark could be like having some insight into the other Mark's life a little bit. I'm probably looking too much into this, but
no, definitely that makes sense. It does show there's something missing there on the wall. The other thing is this room looks really strange. I guess those were the doors. I didn't know there was doors there. I haven't looked at the old picture. Julie said she thinks those were the doors to the room, and they took them out. I don't know. It's very odd looking.
Yeah.
At any rate. John says, I thought it might be PD's chip in a new body or Mark. John says Milchick was wearing different clothes too. He had a blue vest on in the next scene. Yeah, but also that guy had lighter skin.
He doesn't wear a full suit very often.
No, he doesn't. It does look like he's wearing the same thing as Mark, which is why what you're saying actually makes sense. Like it could just be more meant to foreshadow or meant
not even be real. Like could that be Mark? Like that's just like Mark feeling like he's being watched.
Yeah, it could be that too. I said there is a lot of things in this show about reflection and about like two selves and duality and that kind of thing. So it definitely makes sense if it's just meant to be that. Okay. Now, okay, I do have a couple more pictures I got to show.
You got to put Golden Child's quote up.
What did I miss?
You got to
something?
read Golden Child.
All floors. That's why he has all the super dope dancing moves. He rules all floors. Sorry, I missed that. Milkshake rules all floors. I'm assuming is what he's going. Milkshake rules all floors. Yep. Okay, where's my mouse cursor here? Okay, we got a couple things we got to look at here. One is, okay, this thing. This I want to talk about. So let me do present. I'm like, preset. No, it says present, you dumbass. Okay. I can't read. It's like my, what was that I said about, causal loops that I said that one time?
Yeah.
Okay.
Casual loops.
Casual loops. That's what I said, casual loops. Okay, now, this is really interesting to me, and I want to know what the hell it means.
This is what Miss Wang is doing on her.
Miss Wang. That looks a lot like what they're doing, but with little circles, doesn't it?
It's just zeros that she's dropping into unlabeled like bins.
Yeah,
there.
But she's kind of like separating something like they are. It made me think a lot of what they do. And it kind of makes me wonder, like, is there levels to this? Like they've all got their own kind of, job.
My first instinct is like, was she training? Like, is she an intern or was she training to do the work? But
maybe. It's just, I don't know. It kind of looks like what they do, I think. I can't
read that at the top.
Yeah, base level, maybe something level. I blew a couple pictures up with like my enlarger. This one I did not, so apologies, I didn't. Blue and green, but also, okay, that's the hello, Miss Cobel. Wait, this.
Now, I love this.
The colors, but also her cure game, which is hilarious.
I thought this also was a bit of like paralleling to the meaningless of the work. Like that, like this is a fun game to do, but ultimately you're just trying to get that little hoop onto his hands, right? And it's just sort of a time requires a lot of focus, but ultimately, what's the like
The point of it. Yeah.
yeah.
But it also makes me feel old that I remember having one of those. Not with fear, but
You know,
something.
when she first reached in there, I assumed she was going to get the finger trap that Harmony used to play with.
Oh, yeah.
And she has a different toy to play with.
Yep.
Yeah.
I don't know. I found it kind of interesting, and I don't know that this is relevant to anything, but it's just something that kind of stood out a little bit. What is up with the fact? Hold on, I'll get it. The way they showed like him turning it off and then her turning it on. Like, what was that about? I don't know that it's anything. It just seemed really weird, unless it was just the way that they liked it to flow together. I don't know. It just seemed strange the way it was like almost a frame later.
Well,
I remember there wasn't much between that.
Some people out there in the world saw Helly like kind of maybe struggle to turn on, not know how to turn on the computer, and is that evidence that it's Helena?
Wouldn't you, though, in the real world know how to turn on a computer? Well, I guess it's a different kind of computer.
I mean, I get a new laptop, I got to look around it to find where the power button is, right? Like,
yeah, that's true.
And maybe Helena would not have experience with this like 1982 technology, right?
That's a good point.
Helly would be able to come in every day without even thinking, just like reach for it and click it, right? Yeah. So some people out in the internet world think that
so they showed Milchek's first just to kind of draw attention to it, I guess.
Yeah, that he's just like flick and that she has to look for it.
Interesting. Joan says, why does Huang have a child-sized computer compared to the others? She does have a little computer compared to that.
She does.
Green, blue, and red represent different tempers. You know, I took a picture somewhere, and it's on my phone, I think, in my screen captures that somebody had posted somewhere, so I don't have it to share. But yeah, woe is green. Remind me what they are. I had them before, and I already forgot what they were. Woe, malice, dread, and what's the other one?
It's something. It's not frolic. It's
yeah, frolic. It's frolic.
It's frolic.
Woe is green, frolic is yellow, dread is red, and malice is blue. So that would be dread, malice, and woe. Well, she's bored out of her mind. She's playing with a boring game.
Yeah.
I don't know. But yes, the colors do represent tempers.
Sometimes primary colors are just primary colors.
Yes, yeah. No, but there is a lot of red, green, and blue in the
there is. I just don't think every single time.
No, I don't think every single thing is.
There's a tree. There's a tree. It means whoa, it's green, right? No, I'm not.
Yeah, I agree with you, but I do think some of it and a lot of it is on purpose because it's too much. Like it's an overabundance of it.
But this show is very little color, so yeah, when it appears, it is.
Yeah, I mean, again, is that why it's a green office? I don't know, but they do wear blue all the time. I mean, that's and their cards are blue, obviously.
Yeah, there was an episode last year where Ellie wore yellow, and I was really surprised by it.
I don't remember that. I'd have to go back, but they usually wear blue. Okay, I'm only leaving this on because there's some pictures I want, so I want to see. There's their picture that looks like what was in the car. Okay, here we go. Oh, I thought I took a picture of that wooden thing. I guess I didn't. Somewhere I had a close-up of it. Okay. Mark looking at his computer screen, which is numbers. And again, the four, well, you can't see them there, but the four tempers. I assume that like the feelings they feel are the tempers, right? Like, whoa, and that, like they said that, you know, the numbers make them scared. That's probably dread type of thing. But Cold Harbor, I don't know. I don't think we've had at this point Cold Harbor yet, right? This is new to now. That his
that's his new case.
Okay. Well, Cold Harbor. And if we go through it, he's looking. I have a close up of his eyes here. You can see that he still sees the numbers because I thought this was interesting. I actually looked closer to see because my thing took screen captures in order. They are in order. I didn't have to put them in order, so I know it's right. Because when we see her face, if you look after that, there's another screen. You can see he still sees the numbers. Now, I don't know if you can see it.
You're looking at his eyes.
But if you look at his eyes, he is still seeing numbers. That has, I mean, I think that is showing that that's what he sees as the numbers because
that's the next shot.
Because otherwise the reflection, I don't know. I think the reflection was on purpose to show that, in my opinion. But so we have Gemma / Miss Casey. What looks like some kind of vitals.
This goes to the idea of them like say defragging consciousness, but like
something
like the numbers are.
It does kind of look like a hard drive defrag.
And they put him on her case, her file, because innately he would see the scary numbers.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. They do look like vitals. These kind of look like cells. Somebody said it reminds them of, and it kind of does, one of those things like above a surgery chair or whatever, like the light. It does kind of
look like up that. And you, actually, that's what I have in my kitchen. I think it looks like those rings that Miss Wang was trying to put over onto Kier's hands.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, it kind of does look like that too. I thought it was cells. I don't know. But I just want to point out the numbers at the bottom are still the bins. It still has the 4 tempers listed.
Yeah.
On each bin. So I'm assuming it has something to do with tempers at any rate. But anyway, that's back to the beginning. So he was still seeing that. I took it again, silos. Yeah, it's silos also.
Yeah, they do look like silos.
As I said, I took it, my interpretation of that was that what is really on that screen is her picture, but he can't see it because he doesn't have the memory. Whether that's right or not, I have no idea, but that's what I took it as.
Yeah.
Especially because of the reflection. Now, could it just be that they filmed it with the other scene and it's a real reflection and it has, that's not true and it's just the real reflection in his eyes? I don't know. But yeah. I think it's more likely that they probably added that reflection in his eyes because it's pretty visible. So they could have added it digitally really, really easy. Because I don't know that you would normally see that reflected in his eyes that clearly. So,
no.
I don't know.
I mean, I'm sure everybody on this entire chat has Googled Cold Harbor, and we know it's a famous Civil War battle, and that's pretty much all we know, unless some people have gone deeper.
Yeah, I think they showed some of the other names before. I think one of them's a city, and one of them's a city that's like in a movie or something that I think they just put in as a reference. One of Helly's, I don't even remember what it is.
Well, Helly's new file is Santa Mira, and that is the town in Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
Yeah. So, well, that actually, now that you say that, what does that imply? That implies it's Helena, doesn't it? Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, is that like an Easter egg? Is that like implying that that?
Or it also could be implying just that they take their bodies over daily. But I would say it probably implies it's Helena.
Yeah,
somebody liked that movie.
I mean, I think it could imply Helly trying to get control of the body away from
that too. Yeah, no, it could. Right? Yeah, or like I said, it could just imply somebody really likes that movie too.
Yeah, it could just be. I mean, sometimes it just is like shout out because they like that movie. Yeah.
Sometimes a movie reference is just a movie reference. Yeah. Also, again, now, does this mean anything? I don't know. I may be reaching with this one. See what you think, but. The music is called God Walked Down. And that also makes me think that these people look at, well, I guess more Kier, but so maybe that doesn't make quite as much sense as I was thinking. But look at Egan. Well, yeah, Kier is an Egan. They look at Egan's like a deity. So it makes me think like God walked down, like maybe it does mean Egan walked down because she's down there.
Yeah.
Again, that may be reaching, but that's what I thought of.
I have a question. So the Egans certainly look at themselves look at Kier as a deity, and maybe look at themselves as deities. And the innies are trained to think of him as a deity.
Yeah, that's a cult.
And he's got a lot of stuff named after him, but like as much as the real world thinks that is a little bit TBD.
Yeah. And I'm curious if there really is a town here, or that was just so they don't know where they're at. Because for all we know, there really could be a town that they named Kier.
Yeah, I think it's not uncommon for like in like the olden days, for companies to name the town after the company. Like I read this book about Fordlandia, where Henry Ford like created a whole town so he needed rubber from rubber trees. So he opens this rubber plantation in like the Amazon, and he builds a whole town for the workers to live in, and he named it Fordlandia. And that's not like there are a lot of towns.
Wait, you said Ford?
Henry Ford. Henry
Okay.
Ford named
Okay.
it after himself, Fordlandia. True story. And there are plenty of towns that are named after the main employer, probably in like from the 1800s in the world, right?
Yeah.
It's just not done anymore.
Yeah.
So
And more just thinks it's weird. It says cure PE. That's what is kind of weird. That it says.
Yeah, I don't know what the PE means. It could mean who knows what that means.
Yeah. I don't know. Going back to what Breezy had said before I had started, I don't remember at this point exactly what they were saying. I apologize. I saved it for the end since we weren't at that point yet. Now I don't remember what it was in reference to. I think it has to do with the screen at the end, her screen, and the medical info. So definitely thinks it's medical info, but I don't remember what we were talking about at the time that was in reference to. So you'll have to remind us here. Okay, this was weird. This is when we were talking about the newspaper, because Golden Child said the whole town, including stores, etc., are owned by Lumen.
Again, very common, particularly at the time, like when the railroads were expanding across the United States, and they would build these company towns, and then they would charge the workers to live in the houses and stuff like that. It's not a what it is a real anachronism, and not a thing that happens like
now,
in my lifetime, right?
Yeah.
But look, Elon Musk is doing it in Texas. He's starting this whole town in Texas where he's building the school, he's building the house. He wants like all of his people to move to this factory in like Nowheresville, Texas, and he's going to build the town for them to live in.
But is he calling it Elon Musk?
I don't think it has a name yet, but Muskville would not surprise me at all.
That's hilarious. We missed a couple comments here. I just happened to see it now. Okay. Just Me was saying that Mark should have drawn an eggplant on the fridge. I don't think he would know what an eggplant. Know what an eggplant is. Yes,
Mark S.
Maybe.
Yeah. Mark S. No.
Yeah, Mark S. wouldn't know what an emoji eggplant is, but I get the point. It's like unalived. He would draw something else on the fridge. Yes, that would be funny. Speaking of, that made me think about something I wanted to ask you. We talk about knowledge versus learning, and what do they know but they don't have a memory of. Kind of makes me question too, when Helly was describing what she was wearing, would they have knowledge of what like sweatpants are or a gorilla is? Like those are the kind of things they probably would know, right?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, they know.
Okay. They don't wear them at work. That's why I'm asking. Like, it's not.
Yeah, I think they know things. I mean, but I think like Gwendolyn, that was her name, right? I think her comment, like, what is this guy really like? It's one thing to know about it, but it's like like sweatpants are maybe an abstract idea for them. They know about them, but they've never worn. They're like, oh, how comfortable are sweatpants, right?
Yeah.
Like, says, how nice is
like they know what the sky is, but they don't.
But they never really know what it's like to look at it, or they know she knows what wind is, but not what it feels like. So I'd say yes, they know what sweatpants are, but they don't know how awesome it is to sit around in sweatpants all day long.
Okay. Golden Child pointed out that VCRs weren't 70s, and you were totally right.
Yes. VCRs.
But I don't know. Yeah, no, VCRs definitely weren't 70s.
Yes, they were in the 70s.
Were they 70s, or I thought they were the 80s?
They were invented in the 1950s. They just weren't really affordable until like the early 80s. They were definitely around. It's like 78 when the first VCR becomes commercially available to normal. Like they were invented in the 50s, but only like TV stations used them and stuff like that.
So like
it's in the late 70s is when they first came out. But I mean, to Golden Child's point, it's the early 80s before you started to see them. Like my family had one in like 82.
Yeah, I don't know. I know my parents had one, but yeah, I don't know. I grew up on VCR.
The remote control was a long wire then all the way across your whole living room to the VCR.
Yeah, that's funny. But yeah, I think the point isn't so much that it's like old technology. I think it's more that it's analog technology, I think. Because there's like I said, there's nothing digital. It makes me think it's more about it being now what that means, I don't know, but I think it's more about it being analog than about anything.
But it's also old. Like they're not making new analog. No. It's not like it doesn't look like a new clock that they just bought. That's analog, right?
And that's like what I said. That one clock was like numbers, but it was like the flip ones, like on the Lost clock.
Yeah, the Lost clock.
Speaking of that, somebody said last night that when he talked to the new group of people, he sort of hummed "You All Everybody," and I meant to go back and I forgot.
No way. No way.
I do know that he said something like he said something similar to that, and I think that the person like misunderstood what he said.
Yeah.
But I don't know because I didn't go back to check if it was before he met them for the first time. Then I don't know because I didn't listen to it. But he did say something like he came in and he was sort of singing. And he said like "You Everybody" or something. I don't think it was in reference to that though. So I don't know. Some people have to show me.
I think it's unlikely this show would shout out to Lost. I do think this show has more in common with Lost. Like if people say, "Oh, From is like Lost," and it has some overt, but I think this show has more in common with Lost in terms of the way they introduce the characters, the subtlety of it, and
they're all puzzle box shows at any rate.
Yeah, but some are better. Like, some are better than others.
Yeah. I don't know. Here Just Me said, is this recharging her, meaning Miss Casey, because she was only awake 100 hours or so.
She actually said 108, which is a number from Lost. And she said, "I've only been alive for 108 hours."
Okay, then she was definitely talking about. No, I don't know. Yeah, I doubt. But you never know. You see these shows. It could, for all we know, somebody could like Lost, and they
maybe Ben Stiller was a freak for Lost.
Yeah, maybe it's a lot. Because I watched this movie that had a bunch of stuff from the 90s, and they had to have been an X-File fan. I don't even remember now what it was. It was in it. It was sort of this independent movie. But I thought there were too many things, and then there was like a reference outright to Mulder, and I'm like, this person liked X-Files when they wrote it. So sometimes I think it's just they like it.
So Just Me, I think that you could be onto it. Like if we think she's in a coma or can only be resuscitated out of the coma, or if Mark is cleaning up her consciousness or whatever, then it would stand to reason to me that she can only go for a short time and has to go back to the testing floor for a recharge or whatever. The alternate is that maybe like it was just too dangerous what Harmony was doing, and the company was like, "What the hell? Get Gemma out of there. You can't have her near Mark."
Yeah.
But I like that idea that she needs a recharge because of, especially after what we saw at the end of this episode.
Yeah. Let's see. Lumen started in 1865, the same year slavery ended. That's kind of an interesting coincidence. Or not a coincidence, you know what I mean?
That's very interesting.
I don't think the ship started then, though. But
like I get it. Like the idea that we have nobody we can force to do our unpleasant work now. What can we do? Let's
force ourselves.
Because eventually that grow into splitting out part of our brain to do drudgery. Yeah. I mean, there's a sense in the season 1 that like yes, Mark is trying to escape his grief, but other people maybe are that like. The work Mark S is doing is real drudgery kind of work, right? Or, I've never had a baby, but I'm sure many women would be like happy to have someone else bear that pain for them in that moment, right? But
but that's why I wonder: is it more like that he couldn't keep down a job so much?
Because he did get fired, right, from his professor job.
Because I just have to wonder, like, living less of your life. Okay, so for 8 hours a day, you don't have that pain, but you know what? It's going to take a lot longer to get through that grief, not living a full day.
Well, I agree.
Right? You're only living half a life. I don't see how that would actually help. I understand the concept of it, but I don't think it would help. And John says, I thought they sent her back when she started showing emotions in season 1. I'm assuming he's talking about Miss Casey.
She really... like after she says to Mark, "Oh, I really enjoyed spending that day with you," like she also is starting to remember him, right? I really enjoyed that day I spent watching Helly. I spent with you, blah, blah. That's interesting though, because like I haven't really felt like I've seen a prohibition on emotion other than the part where it's a workplace and your emotions don't really play into a workplace. But
it's more Milchek that has no emotion. Once he's dancing, then he's having all the fun, right?
He's emotionally uncontrolled,
yeah. Which I love. We need another dance party, man. We need a waffle party.
John, you're going down the hole, yeah.
He was dressed in a union uniform during the painting.
He was, yeah.
Was he? I was gonna say, I'm gonna look. I won't put it back up, but I just wanted to look at it because
From what I read, Cold Harbor was actually Robert E. Lee's last decent victory before the end of the war.
Yeah, it is. It does.
I like the idea or playing around some theory that it started the same year slavery ended as the year that this company was founded, that eventually comes to invent a type of servitude and they've created a person to serve your needs who doesn't express their own need. Like, you don't have the rest, like the other, how many hours in a day? 24. So the other like 16 hours a day, they don't have, you have to feed them. You have to think about them. They don't, they're not demanding their freedom. They're not, if they demand their freedom, you just retire them. You don't, I don't think that's what this show is about.
Ignore their demands.
Yeah. I don't think that the parallel is that clear in the show, but I kind of like that. Wonder where that could go or what that could come to.
Yeah, you do got to watch, or not watch, read that pilot script though, because it had this whole idea. It was that, I guess it's not really a spoiler to tell what's in the script, because clearly it's not really an episode. It was never really part of it. It's just where the idea came from. But she had a mouse that she had chipped, and like it was like the mouse was her pet and loved her. And then when she turned to chip on, it was this mouse that she tortured, which was like awful. Yeah, I didn't want to read that. I'm like, no, there's also other triggering things in this too. But we'll just say that. But she was like hitting it with something to not a poker, but something that burned it all the time. And like it would be terrified of her. And it was the idea, like that was how she showed it work. Like you turn the chip on, it loves her. You turn the chip off, it loves her. You turn it on, it's scared of her. And that was like showing it. And it's interesting though, because it goes back to like, is some of this sort of a form of torture? I mean, it's not to that extent, but it could be to that extent.
I mean, Helly says when Helly comes to life,
yeah, she says that
they torture us down there, and she had previously described it as hell.
Yeah, but it's kind of freaky because you think about the kind of things they could do. Like, yeah, okay, they're making them do office work. They're not really torturing them, other than making them stay. But who's to say there aren't other? Yeah, and that's what I mean. And who's to say there aren't other departments that they aren't torturing them? We don't know.
Well, I mean, but I'd say it's like a mental and emotional torture, right? And
yes, it is. But I mean, they could be doing more than that. We wouldn't know it at other places.
Especially if someone like Bert and Irv fall in love, and they can only ever be together in a space, in a workspace where that relationship's prohibited, right? Mm-hmm. Like they can never.
Yeah, there was that thing where I said about the reforms, like they had, I don't even remember now what it was, sexual something.
There was something.
I have to question though, like, are they expecting them to have sex at work? Like, that's kind of a weird thing to add in there. I don't know if it was more just like a throwaway funny comment or what. It's I don't know. Maybe it's kind of like the that she was trying to have a throuple with Mark. I mean, it's like, is it really have meaning? I don't know. But if it's sexual liberation.
Oh, no. I mean, that was just them trying to discredit her, right? And the most simple way to discredit Miss.
Yeah, but she does seem to have an odd obsession with Mark, though.
But is it an obsession? I mean, she had plans for Mark. She wanted to prove reintegration, I think. She was using Mark and Gemma to advance reintegration, and she had an interest in knowing about Mark's life. I mean, it was.
I guess it's possible that
I don't think she had. I don't
think unhealthy at times. To me,
I wouldn't characterize it like a stalkery obsession. More like a. I mean, she.
So you think she's trying to see either if the chip's not working or if maybe she's purposely sabotaging it? Is that what you're saying? Like
I think in order for her, she had to learn more about his outie life in order to trigger the innie to remember. And that's why she was hanging around with him. She eventually got access to his house. So
you think she's trying to make him remember because she wants him to remember, not like to see if it's working.
Because she wants to like reintegrate her mother or whatever. Maybe.
Okay, that's interesting.
Maybe her mother's permanently severed somewhere and she wants to bring her back. Or maybe I think her interest in Mark is extracurricular to her job. She's off the reservation doing whatever. But I think it was a profession, whatever her twisted professional is, right? Whatever's going on there. I don't think it was like it's sexual or it's stalkery, or I think she, in her mind, whatever she's working on to advance whatever her plan is, that's where it came from. And she has to know him. She has to know his life. She has to keep an eye on him. She has to see if the innie's going to break through. She's covering her ass. I think it's all about that.
Yeah, that's really and really interesting take. See, I thought at times it bordered on creepy, but I didn't think about it that way either.
It's creepy. It's creepy, but it's because what she's doing at work is creepy, I think.
I guess. Sometimes I got the opinion that she sort of had a crush on him too, but I guess she could still like him and have a crush on him.
I never saw that.
I thought it was like a weird. I mean, I think she's too old for him, but it still was like kind of weird. I don't know.
I forgot my stand for my computer. I didn't really see that in it, but I mean, everybody sees their own thing.
Yeah. So yeah.
What else?
I was gonna say, is there anything else? We've gone on a pretty long time. I don't know if there's anything else to add, unless people have more in the chat. I think we've kind of covered most stuff.
I think so, yeah.
I did want to show you guys, because I am almost completely done with this. So I did want to show people Jamie creepy. Yes. I think it's creepy. Here, wait, hold on. Let me find this here.
Is it a from thing?
Yes, it is a from thing. I don't know whether I like the one part of it or not. I want to get some opinions here. Okay. So first of all, I should say this. Now, nothing is up yet because I don't have it up, but this is actually, I think, the full link. You can even do store.fandomvision.com. It'll take you to the same place too, but there's the full link. The from stuff is not up yet, but from stuff is coming. So what I wanted to show is that I have this almost done, and I want to get people's opinions on this. Here is, I don't like, you can't stretch the damn screen. I need to make the bottles a little more color. What I want to know is if people like the teeth or not. I added those teeth, and I don't know if I like them or not. It was supposed to be like creature teeth, but I'm not sure if I like them. I haven't decided, so I was curious what people thought.
They remind me, let me flick it, make it larger.
Yeah, I can go in.
They remind me a little bit of Venom.
Oh, they kind of do, yeah. Well, I was trying to, I mean, I can't paint it, so that was what it came up with. But I don't know. I'm curious if people like the teeth or not. But I think the other part, I like the rest of it. So I'm curious what you guys think. Do you like the words? I don't have to put the words on. I just kind of want to get an opinion of people because I do want to put it. Everybody complains there's no from merch. So yeah. I want to get it done and get a freaking t-shirt. That's my idea. I'm getting a t-shirt made.
Yeah.
Felicity says with and just me says without. That doesn't help if you both think something different. At any rate.
Maybe make the teeth a little more like a clown smile, like Smiley's face is kind of clowny.
Maybe.
Like he doesn't have pointy monster teeth, but he has a very wide kind of.
Oh, that's true. I guess I don't have to use pointy teeth. I was thinking like creature teeth. That was why I had the pointy teeth. But yeah, it could be just like
Smiley, like Smiley's creepy smiley mouth.
Yeah, I could try that. Maybe hands coming out of the hole. That might be interesting too. Yeah. I don't know. We'll see. Depends what all I can paint. I'm doing it in pieces and photoshopping it together. But anyway, ripping the tree. Yeah, maybe I'll have to try that. But I don't know. I'm pretty happy with it. So
yeah,
I'm gonna be putting it up pretty soon. It should be pretty soon up. What's it say? It looks like the tree is cursing. What looks like the tree is cursing? Putting something in it? Or you mean maybe they mean the mouth. He means the mouth. I'm not sure what you mean by that. Looks like the tree is cursing. Jamie the arts. Well, thank you. I am having fun with it. I wanted to put like one of the talisman hanging from the tree, but it just looked really weird trying to do it because the bottles are like the wrong size, and it would be really
the bottles
have to be really tiny or be like out of proportion.
Yeah.
So but it will eventually be up. So anything else? I was going to say, do we have any other theories? I was going to say, I have written here the theories I had. I told you about the one I thought like maybe she was in a coma and only part of her brain was left. Part of her memory was left. Oh, I saw somebody, I meant to put it up. One of them said something about, about that, the fact she got the red ring. I don't know. One of them were saying that maybe it means something. She got the red ring on
Oh, Miss Wang got the red ring around Kier's
yeah,
hand.
I meant to put it up and now I can't find it. I have about the purple, and then I have more about, I think Gemma only exists there. I think Helly's really Helena sent to watch them. I think they're also trying to get Dylan on their side. They know the best way to bait him. Mark, on the other hand, they couldn't control, so they gave him what he asked for, or a version of what he asked for.
I mean, that is kind of a good point. If I'm Milchick or Harmony or whoever is up above Milchick, Dylan does appear to be more of a team player, except for the part where he held down the fort and made it possible for everybody to
yeah,
right, which is kind of unforgivable.
And he really likes his belts.
Yeah.
But I had it's a way for them to get the other people back to work. But Helena wouldn't have wanted to stay gone. Lumen got what it wanted. Also, Helena would have no reason to want to leave. In fact, she wouldn't even have to keep herself severed other than to prove it works, because that's why she got severed in the first place. After that, she could come and go. And then I know people said they missed Cobel. I put, I think Cobel's important. Maybe she was a mole or trying to take them down. And I have, and Mark was trying to gauge how Huang would respond when he was talking to her. And is wellness gone just because of Casey? So those were kind of my notes. Also, somebody had asked earlier, and I apologize. Thank you, Golden Child. I apologize that I missed, again, it was a painting that I had missed, but somebody had asked what you think Irving meant that he's Dylan's favorite perk. I think he just meant that he knew, Dylan liked him. I don't know that it had anything more than that. It was a weird wording, but I think it was just kind of like
Dylan so highly values all the perks in the office, but
yeah, and he's like,
it's kind of like, oh, you don't only come here for the perks. You really like me. You like, I thought it was like an acknowledgement, like we're friends. You really like me. You're not just here for the cookies.
Right.
Well,
yeah, it's the thing about work, right?
Yeah.
Let's see. I feel like I had notes at the beginning of this. I had said. And maybe not. I need to do my video dive yet. I got all my script written out. I just have to record it.
Good.
Started recording it, and then it was like almost time for this. And I'm like, I am still not done, damn it. I should be done by now. Right. I know one thing I didn't mention. I do have this in. And again, I don't know that this means that I think that's what it is. But when he's running down the hall at the beginning, you know how they have, I had a picture of it, really steep angles, they swing it around really quick, up and down. That so much reminds me, because I've been playing them, of a video game when you change the camera angle. That was what it made me think of so much. And like I said, I don't know that I think that means they're in a video game. I'm just saying it reminded me of that.
I think there are plenty of filmmakers today who are influenced by their entire childhood playing video games.
Yeah. Well, it really made me think of it. But I really like that opening scene. I think that opening scene is filmed really well. It's cool.
Yeah.
I wonder who the players are. Who the players are in the waffle party. Yes, I would like to know if they're anybody or it's really just about the masks. Yeah, and was it really an orgy, or was it just meant to be funny? Is my other question. Because,
it took 5 months to film that scene. I mean, it was pretty complicated with all that weird dancing and camera angles and masks and all. That was maybe one of the top 2 most bizarre things I saw this season.
Yeah, because I was going to say, I don't think he meant the hallway scene. I'm assuming he meant the that was very strange. And that's why I'm saying, was it literal or was it just to be funny? No, he did mean the hallway scene. It took 5 months, or do you mean 5 months because Milchick said it was 5 months and you're joking? Or did it seriously?
Hallway scene took 5 months. So I believe that. That was really
maybe 5 months to build, but 5 months to film?
Maybe to produce between filming and other kinds of things, but I could see that. Now I'm going to Google that and try to read whatever Pete interview or whatever else he found that from, because that's pretty cool. Yeah. But I could see that. Because Mark's like running and running and running down these hallways, and they didn't build like all those miles of hallways, and he's making turns, and
That's what I said. It looks like one continuous shot, but I don't.
it
I mean,
doesn't,
I don't know.
because they film him from the front and the back.
Oh,
and
that's true. That it can't be. I didn't think
it doesn't
of that.
look like a continuous shot, but
It's like a fake continuous shot because they filmed it so it looks like it, but you're right. They do cut out. You just
but now I'm going to Google that. Well, I guess we're about done. I'm excited for next week. I really miss Kristen Solveig a lot. I have not been the hugest fan of Mark's sister, but as the season went on and she becomes
we said it on the podcast.
She becomes more in tune to what's going on with Mark, and then after Mrs. Solveig like grabs the baby, I just think are we going to see this season like her become more involved in trying to like help Mark, save Mark, figure out what Mark's doing, like the whole thing with his sister has been really slow moving. What's her name? I forget the sister's name. Devin. It's been really slow moving, but I feel like we're getting to a point maybe where she's going to become involved in like Mark's severed life more, whether she becomes anti-severance, whether she's trying to solve her own things that are going on. I feel like it's more her than Rickon for me in terms of who's going to get pulled into it and be significant. But that's because I'm not on the Rickon as a secret Egan camp. Now, people who are into that might be. But I feel like Devin's been a slow burning character for the whole first season, and I feel like maybe she's going to have a greater involvement in the direct events this season. I'd like to see that at least. We'll see. And I can't believe they had a character named Gwendolyn when I am dying to see what role Gwendolyn Christie is going to play when she shows up.
I'll never tell. Oh, no, they do have pictures of it out though. If you go, look,
I've seen pictures, but it was just like a character shot. It wasn't like what I saw was just a gallery shot.
She has she's got a bell. It looks like a cowbell. And somebody said because of Christopher Walken wore cowbell. I hadn't thought of that. That's hilarious. Yeah. I don't know that that's what it's for, but that's funny.
Just me. You love the sister Devin also. I'm looking forward to see what happens with her.
All City's saying they said about the hallway scene on the podcast. But that's true. He says maybe that's why they used the 5-month timeline. Yeah, maybe it's more of a joke. It took 5 months to film this, so we'll say they've been gone for 5 months. Who knows?
Maybe.
Golden Child says Dylan definitely already experienced the menage a trois, and he works hard for those waffle parties. He does work hard for the waffle party.
I mean, he's the best. He's the best on the team, right? He's the best. Whatever they do.
He wants his perks.
Data.
Whatever the hell we're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hope she plays a more important role with Mark. Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree with the other thing that everybody else has said, that we want to see more of Miss Cobel.
I mean, I have always liked Patricia Arquette, but this is like a really great role for her.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Yeah. All right. Well, I haven't been on the go since 3:00 yesterday afternoon, your time. So
yeah, that's fine. And I apologize. I did, like I said, I told somebody I was going to have them call in, and then we never put the link up, and I don't know if they were here and left, and I feel bad. I am sorry. I got so involved in us doing it, I sort of forgot to put up the link. But
that's all right. Now we get a groove for next week.
Yeah. I put it up. So next time we'll get hopefully more people calling in. Please tell people about our show. We need to get lots of people watching. And please make sure that I had hold on one second. I had unpinned it because I pinned the call in back. But I will again put Discord link in the comments. Please, if you haven't joined Discord, tomorrow night at 10 p.m. Eastern is the From Watch party. We're on, what episode are we on? God, I don't even remember what episode.
I don't know, I'm way behind.
Yeah, I'm like, wait, what are we watching now?
You're beyond episode 6, maybe?
Oh, really? I wanted to say 9.
6?
That's my last
9?
I don't know. Actually, I can look up this way and see when our last video was. That's probably the easiest way to do. Our last breakdown was for 106. We're on 7. I'm 2 weeks ahead. I'm going in the future. According to that, we're on. Oh no, wait. Wait a second. Yeah, we're on 107. So I apologize. We are on 107 tomorrow. So at least that's what. Or wait, was that 107? See, I'm like losing my brain. I always am.
All right, whatever. Come back.
Yes, we're on 107. Last week was 106, so we are on 107. So yes, come tomorrow, Discord, 10 p.m. Eastern. Our show for our live stream, me, Julie, and Scarlett, is tomorrow at 11. And I think this may be the last week it's at 11. It's going to go back to 10:30 once Roger isn't using the thing. But so that's that. And then again, come to the watch party next Saturday at 8 for Severance for the second episode. And then this live stream will be again at 9 next week.
Well, and our regular show, Fandom Access, is back Tuesday at 10 o'clock. And we will be talking about Silo.
The Silo finale, yeah.
And anything else?
What If? Because we still haven't done that. We waited for
Marvel's What If. Okay, we got that this week. All right.
Yeah, and yeah, I guess that's it.
Okay.
And if you guys want to have any other kind of watch party or whatever, I know we've some talked about them some in Discord. Let me know. I'm up for that. Maybe even tonight. And I'm gonna try to put the dive video on. See if you guys, if you want one, if you like it. I don't know. I'm not good at it. I'm better at this, just talking. I don't know. I wrote out the script and I'm trying to read it and it kind of sucks, but I'm gonna try.
All right.
Yeah. Well, thanks everybody for coming.
Right,
Appreciate it. And subscribe if you haven't. And yeah, we'll see you tomorrow. I'll see you tomorrow. Karen will. Hopefully, maybe you'll be in the watch party.
Maybe. I got to watch football at 6:30. The Ravens are at 6:30. So, all right. Good night.
Good night, everybody. Thanks for coming. Appreciate it.
Bye.
Night.